Hello?
How does she sound?
Is it okay?
Dang, shorty. I'm here in the backyard in Peekskill with Rachel Elizabeth Slocum.
Hello.
Internet phenomenon. Are you comfortable with that?
No.
Why not?
It's just weird.
It is weird.
It's weird.
How did it happen?
So I got on TikTok in 2020 during quarantine after I specifically told many people if I ever get a TikTok, punch me directly in my face, right?
Because and yet you did.
I sure did. I did. We were in quarantine. My oldest son had TikTok and he was doing the dances and I was just so fucking bored that I was like, all right, I guess we'll give this a try. And I can't dance for shit, so I did that and nothing happened.
I think you're a pretty good dancer.
I am not.
You should see me and Howie dance and then we'll see who's a good dancer.
And then so the dancing thing didn't work out for me really. And I was also like freshly postpartum with my youngest. So I just got it on there and started talking about stuff, mom stuff in a comedic way. And then I had a viral video. And then from there, it just kind of.
This is my big TikTok question.
Yeah.
I don't know. Are you a conspiracy theorist?
Kind of.
Do you think China invented TikTok to destroy American youth? You don't.
No, I don't.
All right, good. I have no feeling about it.
I think America. I think here is they don't want us to see a lot of things that they.
Chinese protect Chinese youth. But America doesn't protect American youth.
Right.
Yes.
Yeah.
And you were sober at the time when you started TikToking.
Yes.
And I know, you have crazy numbers. I feel very small sitting next to you right now. But when you first hit, did you feel high from hitting?
Well, the first video, I didn't realize, I wasn't really on I wasn't very active on the app. I wasn't trying to go viral.
You didn't realize that there was a whole career in this?
No, I never tried to do this. I was never trying to be a content creator. It just kind of happened. But that first video, I remember my oldest son and I was I opened the app and I had I don't know, it was at 1 million views and my notifications were just going crazy and we literally were watching it in real time. We were like, oh my God, it's about to hit 2 million. It's about to hit 3 million. It's about to hit. And it went to 10 or 11, I think. And just so many comments and all of this crazy stuff. And I was just holy shit,
Were there a lot of comments that started with dang shorty?
Not at that time. That came later. So I started off with mom content. That's how it started. Just me. I've really just always made content around what I was going through in life. I started the positive affirmations in lieu of my flat ass, right? That's what I was just, you got to talk to it nice, that's it. And so I actually was here one summer and I just made I was just here's what you do to get a thick queen juicy dumper, and clearly my ass is flat as a pancake. And then it turned into this whole positive affirmations.
When do you get struck with the inspiration? You're thinking affirmations, you're thinking juicy dumper, and affirmations. When does it come to you? Do you remember where you were?
So that first video, I hadn't called it positive affirmations yet. It was right after that video that I was my brain is on all the time about all of these things. And I was holy shit, positive affirmations.
That's it.
Yeah, that's
it. I'm done. And where does dang shorty come in?
It's shardy, actually, because I shit my pants sometimes.
From sharding.
From sharding.
So shardy, is not a Peekskill pronunciation of shorty.
No, it's shardy. Shardy is a term of endearment
for
at
your
this
butt,
point.
because it sharts sometimes.
Exactly.
So it's shardy.
Yeah, it's shardy. Yeah, a lot of people hate that, but that's what it is.
I thought it was just some Peekskill colloquial shit.
No, yeah, it just came out like that. The first time I said it, I don't know if maybe I was just saying it a certain way, but then it just, it all came together, and I was perfect.
It's magic.
Yeah.
I understand.
Yeah.
I'm a fan of these kinds of moments, and I'm glad to document it for our little podcast. Now, we're in your father's backyard in Peekskill, across the street from the historic park you grew up messing around in.
Yeah.
So what's it like to be back?
Well, this is my last time ever that I'm going to be... Oh, should I just hit the mic?
No, these are the mics.
Sorry.
Don't listen to Howie.
This is the last time I'm going to ever be in this house because my dad is literally selling it. In the next few weeks, I'm moving down to Austin. So this is the house that I grew up in. I smoked crack in that was my bedroom right up there, that window.
Now we're getting somewhere.
Yeah. So I love coming home to New York But also every time I'm here, I notice that like, I think subconsciously it's like really fucking heavy. Like, cause this whole time I also lived up in Wappingers for a while, and I was like deep in my addiction up there.
Wappingers Falls.
Yeah, and we're staying in Fishkill, and all in that area, every place I pass, I'm like, I fucking, I got pulled over here and searched. I saved my boyfriend from an overdose right here in the Walmart parking lot. Everywhere I go, I'm like, holy shit, I did a lot. I was really running these streets over here. So
right, no kidding. But
yeah.
it's funny because as we get further away from the fucking bad shit, I mean, I forget. I think I might be an early onset, Alzheimer's, dementia,
same.
where I forget. But then it's like some shit triggers me a little, but then it's more like I cannot believe it's not my life.
Right.
It's like, how is that the same life that's this life?
Right.
How
Yeah,
can
it's
life be so
crazy.
long and so compartmental?
Yeah.
Howie wanted to do a shtick about Peekskill being upstate, but I will do it. Like, you grew up in Peekskill. Do you consider this upstate?
Okay, so I think there's upstate, like, so anything north of the Bronx, right, is upstate if you're living in the city. But when I consider upstate, like I say, there's upstate, and that's New York City lingo for anything north of the Bronx. And then to me, upstate is like, Buffalo, all the way up. So it's like it's not upstate, but it's upstate.
See, I work at this deli, and it's 99% Dominican at the deli. And if I say, and my dad has a house upstate, outside of Albany. And if I say to the guys and the cats is, I'm going upstate, all upstate means to them is jail.
Yeah.
Like, it doesn't mean
that.
north of the Bronx. It doesn't mean
upstate,
Westchester. It just means prison or jail. So upstate has a lot of terms. I went to school in Purchase.
Okay.
So I'm very sophisticated with my New York geography, and this is the home of the great TV show The Facts of Life. But you're too young for that, right?
I think I remember The Facts of Life.
That's a song you got to work into your repertoire.
Okay.
It goes,
yeah.
I'm not going to sing it to you because it'll be embarrassing. When's the first time you got high, and was it in this house?
First it was in Peekskill. So the first time I started smoking weed, and the first couple times that I smoked, so I used to walk up this block and to the middle school, and the first couple times I skipped first period of school, and me and my best friend went to like someone's house, and they were smoking. First time I didn't get high. Second time I smoked, I didn't get high. And then the third time that I smoked, we were going on a blunt ride probably around, like downtown, Peekskill, and all of a sudden we're in the pizzeria at Antonio's Pizzeria down there, and I just was like, it hit me out of nowhere, and I was like, what the I felt like I was it felt like acid. That when I think of that first time that I got high off weed, like, it was like no other, it didn't hit me like that after I had experienced it that first time. But I remember I just stood up out of nowhere. I went into Rite Aid, and I'm walking around Rite Aid like I'm in a fucking dream. People were probably looking at me weird as hell. I'm like touching things on the wall. It's
like good acid.
Yeah.
It was like
no, it was great.
Yeah.
I loved it.
Were you stoner?
Yeah. Once I experienced that, I smoked all day, every day, as much as I could.
What was the Peekskill stoner scene like? Were there any
Honestly,
freestyle rappers who called themselves Peekskills?
No, to be so honest. So I was young. I was 12, 13 when I started smoking, and most of the kids didn't think it was cool. So I hung out with the older kids. There was a lot of hood older kids. There was a lot of, New York, like, people pulling up in their cars, hey, ma, that type of shit. And so...
Fucking with you as a young stoner girl.
Yeah. Yep, exactly. And we would just smoke, and that was the life. I had a...
They would be like, hey, ma, you want to hit this kind of thing? And you'd be like, okay.
You want to ride or whatever? I'd be like, yeah, sure.
I'd like to get high.
I used to sneak out of this house and at like 2 o'clock in the morning, having a sleepover with one of my girlfriends, and we just used to roam the roads, and people would just drive by and like, hey, you want to, whatever. And thankfully I never got kidnapped or anything, but it was good times. Yeah.
Was it all good times in that period?
No.
Wasn't there some horrible thing that happened in there? Some horrible trauma that you refused to talk about?
I mean,
in that period?
Yeah, no, there was a lot of shit. I have this day that I call the Day of Doom, and I took
I like you looking at me like, what do you? You're like, you look at me like, what do you know about me? That was that look.
There's a lot. I mean, there's a lot.
Of course.
And stuff that I haven't really gotten into. But there's this one day I call the Day of Doom, and I raided my parents' liquor cabinet, took a water bottle, and just mixed. You know, the like sophisticated little mix you do. And I think I got like a cup of orange juice, and my friends and I, we just drank, and then we smoked, and we were just fucking shit-faced walking in that park, walking around. And at some point we went to someone's house, and I had like passed out, like fully like dead, like dead fish type of vibe on someone's random couch that we pulled up to. And then the next thing I know, I woke up with this like grown ass man on top of me as
Horrible.
I'm 12 years old. Yeah. And I was like, I woke up immediately, ran outside to my friends, and I'm like, what the, and I was fucking gone. You know what I mean? But I still knew what happened. And then, yeah, I mean, my mom actually that day was driving around looking for me, and I went down that driveway of that house with all my friends, and she like pulled up screaming at me like, what the fuck are you and I just got in the car, dead silent. I came home, went to sleep, and just kind of never said anything about it. And I would see that dude when I would walk to school, and he would like,
But he hey ma you after that? He would after that.
Mm-hmm.
That's horrible.
Yeah, it's fucked up.
And your mother was hardcore New York Italian, and your dad was Australian.
Dad's Australian.
Your dad's
super strict,
but very sweet.
Oh, he's so sweet. He wasn't very much like that when I was.
You see how nice he was to us?
Yeah. No, me and my dad. It's funny because I had a lot of issues with my dad growing up. He was just very strict. Had his way of doing things, and that was it. And now we're really close. Like as I'm older, and he's gotten a lot more calm and kind of.
Well, you've gotten your shit together.
I've also gotten my shit together, yeah.
And he sees like your success, and he sees your family together, and he trusts. Like we earn trust.
Right.
It's pretty crazy that we're the same people. Yeah. You know what I mean? Yeah. I totally get it. So how does it get bad? Like, because obviously, I mean, if you want to know anything about Rachel, you just look at her Instagram, the first fucking pinned thing where you're fucked. Which I love. I see her. I was like, I love that.
My people.
Yeah, I don't have any video or pictures of me at my worst, like at all.
Yeah.
So like, what is that picture?
So that picture, that was I had started smoking crack. So I went opiates. Opiates was my fucking jam.
When do you hit opiates first?
I think I was 15 around when I said the Oxy 80s.
Yeah,
the fucking good old days.
I never got to it.
Did that?
But tell me everything, how the world of Oxy 80s opens up to you.
Yeah. Okay. So I did the weed thing. I did the drinking, and then I just started experimenting with other things here and there. I did coke. I didn't really love. I was kind of just like searching for that thing that I loved, right? And then I came across ecstasy.
Yeah.
Ecstasy was my fucking
it's amazing.
shit.
Amazing.
Okay, right.
It's
yeah.
amazing.
I mean, yeah, I was just like, okay, I want to do this as much as I possibly can, but
it's never described this way, but it's almost like a marriage of the best psychedelic with the best opiate.
Yeah.
And because you feel so good.
Oh my God.
And it's mind expanding.
Yeah.
And you're thinking of different things, and you're listening to music different,
right.
but you feel really.
I still have moments where I'll listen to a song where like I was listening to in my rolling
like what?
Phase
Like what
days.
Songs?
Yeah. So there's Pursuit of Happiness. Kid Cudi, the like remix with Steve A. That's one of the major ones that gets me. But I went through a real phase with
Break
ecstasy.
it down. What were you listening to?
I was listening to a lot of all different stuff. I know that also Keisha Cole, Sent from Heaven, was one of, there was this little part where she's like, Sent from Heaven. And that part just did something to my fucking brain when I was like in that, mindset. I just used to listen to it on repeat and just be like, like
rolling out.
Yeah. Eyes fucking big as whatever. But, yeah, so I got pretty bad. Like, I just wanted to do it as much as possible, right? Like, and it's not something I could, like, go to school doing and all of that.
It fucks you up, too.
Yeah.
It fucks you up.
You don't look normal. Like, you're not people that can go out and just do, and also, like, I wasn't doing just one. I was popping a whole handful of, like.
Where are you getting all this ecstasy? Who's giving it to you?
So, John that you just met, he had a lot of friends that came up from the city, from the Bronx, from whatever. And
hold that mic closer. I'm gonna lose my mind.
Oh, sorry.
And he's not. Why aren't you saying anything?
Yeah, just tell me.
But it's,
yeah,
you.
just tell me. Just we'll make sure we
I'm
make a hand.
I'm neurotic.
Should we make a hand signal?
With this? What should they? Okay.
Yeah, like this.
I'm just gonna yell at you. If
Okay,
you
yeah,
you can
or
deal
that.
with that.
So yeah, we had a lot of friends that came up from like the Bronx that were drug dealers, and they would come stay at his mom's house just like for free, and we would just have access to like all of this.
So
stuff.
what we're talking about though is like you guys married?
No.
So your baby daddy, partner, life partner, boyfriend, whatever you want, husband.
Yeah.
Like I call my wife, and we never got married.
Yeah.
We have kids, whatever. 15.
Yeah.
You meet.
Yeah.
And the story starts with him bringing out whoever from the Bronx and hooking it up.
Yeah, I mean, so my parents were really strict. His mom, she's passed now, but she was like the really cool mom. She would let everyone party at the house. She would lie to my mom and say, hey, this is, Amanda's mom and whatever, so that I could sleep over there and do whatever the fuck I wanted to do. So really that opened and out, that space, because I knew what I wanted to do. I just didn't have the freedom to do what I wanted to do. Right. So yeah, we had a lot of access to everything. And so I was just doing that. And when I couldn't get it was rare that I couldn't get it, but in the times that I couldn't get it, like if say it was a Friday night, I've been waiting all week to be a crackhead and fucking just roll my dick off, like I've just been waiting. And if it couldn't happen or we couldn't get it for some reason, whatever, there wasn't anything around, it was like the end of the fucking world. Like for me, no one else around me acted like that, which was, it was actually like, when I look at it now, how fucking embarrassing. Like I'm talking screaming, crying. We have to get this.
That's
like you
awesome,
don't understand.
It's like, then it was like, it wasn't an accident that you became such a horrible junkie. You know
I
what
knew
mean?
in that moment that I was different. Like I never, as soon as I found substances, I think I realized that the way that I used them was different than everyone else. Even with drinking, like with everything that I did it to the highest extent that I could do it. There was no just like having a couple drinks. Like I was going until I couldn't go anymore because I was passed out or because I was literally about to die, like that was the only time I was stopping.
I love the tantrums if you couldn't get the ecstasy
like a
on the
fucking
weekend.
Toddler. Like
I remember in college I was just a terrible stoner, and if we didn't have weed, I would like wander around looking for people to, after we scraped everything and smoked every bit of resin, I would wander around to beg people to get me high.
Yeah, that was my vibe too.
But it didn't occur to me that it was not a good thing. Like it didn't seem like a prelude to me becoming a heroin addict at the time, but looking back, it's fairly obvious.
I mean, also I was so young. I don't think I knew I was different in that moment. I didn't think that I was going to end up how I was going to end up, I don't think, but I definitely started noticing that I just reacted differently than everyone else around me, and they were like, what the fuck is wrong with you? And looking back at it now, I'm like, okay, checks out, like makes sense. So one of the nights that we couldn't get it, someone brought out some oxy, because I was like, it was, if I finally accepted like, okay, we're not getting this, it's like, what's the next best thing? Something I'll do whatever, but I have to do something. So I like reluctantly was like, ugh, like, all right, whatever, I'll try it. And
what was it? It was an 80?
It was an 80.
That was the first one.
Yeah. So broken up, snorted it, and I started puking like immediately. But it did something to me. That first time I didn't really realize, but I felt calm. I didn't feel like I wanted to fucking end my life anymore because I couldn't get an e-pill.
It's interesting how opiates the first time, like kind of like weed, don't register the way they're going to, because your brain doesn't know how to deal with it probably.
Right. And I mean, I did a hefty amount for that first time too. Like, I mean, I had never really, we had taken like Vikes before, like perks, whatever, like low grade stuff, but nothing crazy. And I don't remember loving it when I did. I just remember I was tired and I would like go to sleep. So I didn't really, but then after that, I started doing it every day. I didn't really want to do the e-pills anymore. I didn't really want to do anything else. That happened.
Because I feel like that can suit a life easier than ecstasy.
Yeah,
Ecstasy's too crazy.
Right.
It's like, what the fuck is going on?
Well, that's exactly. I was like, okay, I can actually function on this. People don't know unless I'm.
Yeah. How often is that?
I mean,
Not yet.
It wasn't as bad yet. I really managed it for a while like that, and I also didn't know that you got sick. I didn't know what opiates were really, right? Like I just thought
you're a kid.
Yeah,
You're 16?
I was a literal child. Yeah. So,
What about you and Johnny's doing them too?
Yeah.
Is it straight junkie love at that point?
Oh yeah. Our relationship
initially?
was so, I mean, even before because we met, I met him, so this is up in Putnam County, because my parents sent me to Catholic school for high school in 9th grade because I was already so fucked up by 8th grade. They were like, and it's like hood here. In Peekskill, they had like, I was like really trying to be a gangster ass bitch. I like slicked my hair with the pictures. Bamboo hoops, like everything, and they were like, let's try something else, and so they sent me to Catholic school, John F. Kennedy Catholic School, which is in Somers. And so kids from all over different towns went there. So I met people that
it's like the worst kids from every school.
Yeah, literally.
Wind up in Somers.
So one of my best friends was from Carmel, where he's from. So that's where I started hanging out all the time. And the first time we met, he was really shy. He was like super, super fucking shy.
Johnny, he seems shy now.
Yeah, he is shy.
Yeah.
He's a shy boy. But then, so the first time I met him, he was super shy. He like wouldn't even talk to me really. And then I feel like that weekend he was drunk with his friends, and they were like walking around Beach 3 in Carmel, and then all of a sudden on my Nextel, he's like, I want to see you, like, all this. And like from that night on, we were both drunk, and then we literally started dating from that point. And it was fucking toxic from the second that it started.
Now here we are, 20 years later.
Yeah.
But when do you guys start doing oxys together? Was the first time you did them with him?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
So I was at his house. Yeah. And
who gets hooked first?
I think me. I mean, we were both. He had more access because, like I said, it was in his house. Like I still had to go home. I got kicked out of Catholic school, and I had to come back to Peekskill High School. And so he had a little bit. I remember always being jealous because he was just closer to the, he was closer to the product. He was closer to it. And but I would drive, and that's like a 45-minute drive from here. And I would take the bus or like do whatever I needed to do. I hadn't really gone into the city at that point yet because I was a child. So like I didn't really go there to cop anything at that point. We did to re-up on pills like a little bit later, but. Yeah, so he, I think we both probably got, probably around the same time, I would guess.
And like, who went to withdrawal first?
I think me. I didn't know what withdrawal was, so I'm walking to high school one day, and I just felt like absolutely fucking.
I just want to apologize to the camera. There's a delivery going on at Katz's, and I don't want to fuck anything up.
Yeah, no, it's a
shout out to Katz's. Shout out Katz's.
Yeah.
We'll send you a nice package.
Yeah, like this. Okay.
Nice.
Who
got sick first?
Okay, so yeah, I think I got sick first. And I was walking to high school. I think I was in 10th grade, and I was walking to school, and I felt like absolute fucking garbage. Like I had the flu. As soon as I got to school, I went to the nurse, and I was like, something right? I'm sick. So I went home, and I had felt like the worst flu I had ever had for like a week straight. And
did you know?
No. So I think Johnny called me, and I told him that like I'm feeling, and he said, oh, like you're probably going through like withdrawals. And I was like, what the fuck? What is that? You know what I mean?
I don't like the sound of that.
Yeah, that doesn't sound fun to me. That doesn't sound like a good time. So after that, I just made the logical decision that I would just never not have it.
That's such a crazy decision.
Instead of just not doing it ever again, I was just like, okay, tight. Well, now I just have to make sure I go that much harder to make sure I have it all the time, so I'm not sick.
How do you afford it?
I think at that point, I was probably stealing a lot.
From who? From your parents?
Probably my parents. I had money. I remember my great aunt died, and I got $5,000 from like her.
That helps. That helps in an early addiction.
We went through it in 3 days.
Right.
3 fucking days.
Right. As a kid.
Right. So I mean, we were just. However, right. Like I remember we used to like sell shit out of his house, like speakers or just doing.
Junky
classic
behavior,
shit, right? Yeah, and then we would also like I said, there was a lot of people staying in his house that had it, so we would get it like at their price and then sell it for a lot more, and then make money like that, right? So we were just doing all the ways.
How much selling?
There was a lot of selling. That was a lot of it. Honestly.
I could see you guys like selling a lot of drugs.
Yeah.
Looking at the two of you getting out of the car.
Yeah. I mean, we just did whatever we had to do to get it, and that was like the easiest way. So we didn't really have to do anything crazy, but also pawning jewelry. I can't tell you how many times I my parents would be like, "Where's this?" and whatever, and then they just learned not to give. We had to have to go with my parents into the pawn shop so they could buy the jewelry back, like heirlooms and.
So they know you have a serious drug problem.
Yeah.
How soon do they know?
I think, a few years went by and they didn't really know much. My mom had some suspicions because once the oxys like turned into like the OPs where you couldn't crush them up anymore and stuff, we went to Roxy's. We went back to Roxy's, and then I started smoking them off tinfoil. And if you smoke shit off tinfoil, you're gonna have black residue. I had black residue like everywhere. There was like hints, or I would leave tinfoil. I used to smoke down in that basement also, and so like I would accidentally leave a piece of tinfoil out or something like that. So like my mom knew something was going on, but I just wouldn't admit it. I'd be like, "You're crazy."
Well, a piece of blackened. I mean, of all the things for a parent to find,
yeah,
I think a needle is definitely the worst.
Yeah.
Like a parent finds a needle, it's like, fuck. But a blackened piece of tinfoil is really bad.
Yeah.
Because you don't really know what the hell's going on
Right.
if you've never done it. It just looks like something really bad happened.
Yeah.
So what does she say to you?
What
does
I
Tony
think she
say?
asked me. My mom was more. I remember my mom being more the one who was like, really, really on my ass about it. Excuse me. I almost puked in the mic there, guys. Yeah, I remember one time. I think I was smoking I was smoking in the bathroom, and my mom must have been there listening at the door, like listen. She just knew, moms fucking know some shit is up. So she knew something was up, and she busted down. She was like, she started pounding on the door. She's like, "Open this door right now. What are you doing in there?" I'm like trying to hide. I'm like trying to figure it out. I think I like stuffed it in my bra, and we had the like Bic pens we would take apart and use as a straw and all that, and she busted down the door. So I ran up to my attic, and she like chased me up there. We're in a full fist because I just wouldn't let her. I was like holding for dear life. Yeah, I only had, and mind you, I only had like a little trail left. It wasn't even anything crazy.
But
right?
it was just so she didn't know, because it would have ended everything the second it's out.
Yeah. So she fucking knew. She knew, and I think shortly after that was the first time that I like agreed to go to a detox.
Where'd you go?
I went to, what's it called? Something Hill in Connecticut. Silver Hills. Yeah. I went there for a detox. Yeah.
Fancy spot.
Yeah, fancy. It was my insurance that I guess I had some good insurance, but not good enough because they kicked me out on day 8
for smoking oxys in the bathroom.
No, they kicked me out because my insurance.
Oh.
Yeah, and so I fucked up. This was my first experience with a detox, right? So I went there and I'm med seeking per usual. I was like, I do 1,000 pills a day, and I take Xanax, which I wasn't even taking Xanax at that time. So I just was like, that was just my addict brain. I thought that was the thing you do. I'm like, I want to be comfy in here. So they had me on methadone. They had me on Valium. They had me on Klonidine. I was so fucked up in there, probably more fucked up in there than I actually was like using, you know what I mean? And then they never lowered my methadone dose, so I was on methadone, a high amount of methadone for like, it was supposed to be a taper, but my insurance ran out.
It's insanity that they could have you go in there, like that they don't have that foolproof.
Yeah.
Like, because how can they have somebody leave sick?
Right.
How is that not against the Hippocratic Oath?
Right.
Like to get people well, especially an opiate addict. Fine, you need a methadone taper, so fucking taper it.
Right.
Like how many? I mean, I've been to, I don't even know how many detoxes where it's like, okay, we're going to taper you for 4 days.
Yeah.
And you're there for 8 and they don't have it set up.
No, yeah.
Well, so you leave sick.
Yeah. In their defense, they go by like what you say you're feeling. And every time I went in there, I was like, like I'm shitting. I'm cold sweats. Everything hurts. It's at 11, like
always
I went in
11.
there doing that.
Yeah.
So it really wasn't. They're supposed to go by the scale. I just wasn't. It was.
But
my
how
first,
do they not know the
should.
In the insurance aspect?
Right.
It's like it needs to be set.
Oh yeah, 100%.
Or fucking not
Insurance
set.
is a fucking scam.
The whole thing is a scam.
Yeah, it's a fucking scam. So yeah, I went home and I actually detoxed home off of that methadone
with your folks.
Sicker, yeah.
How old?
Johnny was born actually, so I must have been 19 I think.
Hold on, where's the baby?
Johnny was born.
When did you get pregnant?
Yeah, okay. So I got, yeah, we skipped over a whole part there. So I got pregnant.
Teen mom, junkie teen mom.
Junkie teen mom. Yeah. So at 18, I got pregnant and had Johnny at 18. And then.
What were you? Hold on. I need to know everything here. You're 18.
Yeah.
You're addicted to oxys.
Yeah.
Johnny's 18.
Yeah.
He's addicted to oxys.
Yeah.
You get pregnant.
We were like, fire
You're
idea.
like,
This is going to save us.
Was that the thought?
For me,
we can have a new beginning.
I was like, yeah, this is going to make me stop. This is going to save me. Like, I'm going to get this.
Was there a dream? Like, was there a straight dream at that point? Was Johnny like, I can go work in this place, and you were like, I can finish school? Like, was there a dream, a thought?
He was actually working for a garbage, Italian garbage company. He was a garbage man.
Don't ask
and I
any
was like,
fucking questions.
We're living with his dad, and we're delusional, and we're like, we can fucking make this work. And I mean, we did. It was pretty bad for a really long time, but
a garbage man in upstate New York or Westchester or the suburbs can make a fucking ton of money, have a beautiful life.
Right.
Like, that's not a crazy place.
Yeah, but all of our money was going to drugs. So all of it, like literally all of it. So
And how about pregnancy?
Pregnancy, I tried my absolute hardest. I actually did pretty good for the most part to not use. And what I did was I would take tiny little pieces of Suboxone. So like I would come home because they were like, oh, I had heard. I didn't tell the doctor anything because I was scared shitless, right? So what I did is I like eased myself. As soon as I found out I was pregnant, I eased down on everything, and then I would just take little amounts of Suboxone, and he came out he came out perfectly healthy, no withdrawal, no nothing.
That's amazing.
Yeah, thank God, I
just did a talk with this woman who stayed high on oxys, had the kid, and the kid had to go to the NICU for like a few weeks. And then there's a lady who comes on our show all the time, and she, I think, was on methadone still, and the baby was addicted to methadone.
Yeah.
And it's like, it's great that you managed to, like, Johnny was born and not fucking fiending. That's fantastic. But if it happens, people can deal with it.
Right.
More power. Everybody, like,
yeah.
I feel bad when people get pregnant and they're using and they hate themselves, but you can still get a new beginning at some point. You know what I mean? I'm glad that happened.
Totally. Yeah. I mean, I started spending a lot more time here instead of up at John's house with his parent, everything they had up there. I just
needed
separated.
the structure.
I had to, because he didn't stop using that whole time. It was really hard for me to be in that environment and do all that. But as soon as Johnny was born, literally in the hospital, I was already doing shit again.
Let me hear that story.
So I as I recall, I had just had Johnny, and John just came in and was like, here, basically like, here's your gift.
But were you like, Johnny, I need to get fucked up at this point? I just did this.
Probably.
Or was he like,
I don't really remember, to be honest with
so
you.
Long
and I
ago.
also, I had to go back after a couple days after Johnny was born. I had to go back and get a DNC because they like left some placenta or some shit in there. So they already put me on perks. And I just remember I was like,
that's convenient.
Yeah, hell yeah, but I was like, this isn't strong enough. So, I truly thought that and now I'm a teen mom, right? I can't go out like other kids can go out. I can't do things. So I was like, this is my one thing that I have. I like really rationalized in my brain. I'm like, this is my thing. This is like my joy. This is
like my hobby.
This is what literally, I was like, it makes me a better mom. I can do all of the things. I'm like so nice and can do everything on this. I felt like super mom when I was on it. So I rationalized the hell out of that.
And were you here or were you in Putnam?
I was in between both, but most of the time we were in Putnam because I couldn't use how I wanted to. You know what I mean?
What's it like with a little baby and the two of you are just using? I
mean, we managed it. Somehow we managed. It was like I said.
He kept the gig, the garbage gig
for a little while. I don't remember really when he lost that, to be honest. But like his whole family, everyone was doing, like, it was just like a whole clan of just like pill mill shit up in Carmel, right? And like it was, I don't remember when. I think he got arrested at some point. And maybe that's when he lost his job. I basically just took care of Johnny and cleaned the house and did
But it
all
wasn't
that.
it wasn't such a crazy struggle in that mode.
I mean, not really. We also had the help of like my parents with Johnny and his parents, and it wasn't an ideal environment for a kid at all.
But
like,
you survived.
But we
It wasn't
survived.
like a bottom.
Yeah. I did what we had to do and hid it really well. I was really good at hiding, my addiction. I mean, there is one time Johnny must have seen, I don't know if it was, I never let him see me use. Like even when my addiction was like the absolute fucking worst, like
But he was using. Why didn't you let him see?
No,
it?
my little.
Baby,
Okay, so we
yeah.
have Johnny. Johnny 3, Johnny the 3rd is daddy, and then our Johnny is the 4th. They have the same exact fucking name, some Italian shit. Yeah.
Does that bother you, or do you like it?
No, it's fine.
Okay.
Johnny's a good name.
Yeah.
John's a strong name. It's fine.
Yes.
But it's when I was living up there with all the baby, him and his dad, all named John.
Do you just call them 1, 2, 3, and 4?
Well, it was Big John, and then John. I call John. Like baby daddy, I call him John because now we have John. We used to call like baby Johnny, little Johnny, and Big John.
What about the first one? He was dead.
He was dead. Yeah, I never got to meet him. Poppy, that's what.
Papa John.
Papa John.
he started
Papa
a little
yeah.
pizza place.
Yeah, John Calvaccio. So there was like all of this, all of that. But, yeah, we managed pretty well for a while. We definitely got help from our parents. We were kids, we were still teenagers. And yeah, then I guess I just started, I went to that detox.
Because your mom finds you smoking the oxys. Where's the baby when that happens?
So they had him, or I guess he was with his dad. I don't know. A lot
That's
of my
when
brain,
it gets so serious, though.
Yeah.
Like when she's like, "You have a fucking baby.
Yeah.
Can't be smoking oxys in the attic
exactly.
when you have a baby."
Oh yeah. So what I was trying to say is there was one time where she was watching Johnny when he was probably about 2 or 3, and he took a piece of tinfoil. She tried to tell me, I wasn't there when this happened, but she said, "Your son is taking a pen in his mouth and pretending like he's doing that, like and my mom had known at that point.
You're like, well, he doesn't see me. He must be watching
like,
Intervention or something.
I mean,
How
we
does
did
he
watch
know?
a lot of Intervention. Shout out to Intervention. But yeah, and that I remember even me being high in that moment. I was like, fuck, dude, that's
horrible.
It's terrible.
Yeah.
Like terrible.
That's like the ultimate guilt to get you. Your son's pretending like he's smoking fucking oxy.
Right, at like an age where he can't even comprehend what that is.
That's a bold story.
Yeah. I mean that was eye opening for me, but I was still just so caught up. But I remember in that moment I was like, "Fuck,
that's not good."
Like, I don't know where he saw it. It wasn't I'm pretty good at hiding my shit, but like he's seeing, like he's just not. He wasn't in a good environment, like at all. He just wasn't. We were smoking cigarettes in the house. It was just not. It was not fighting. There was a lot of fighting. There was a lot of violence. There was a lot of crazy shit that went on.
But it's funny. Like sometimes I used to rationalize my using. Like if only I had a lot of money.
Right.
But there's not an amount of money in the world that could make that a good situation for the baby.
Right.
Like it's still you guys fucking smoking oxys, smoking cigarettes. Even if there's help, there's not enough.
No,
there's not a possible scenario that it's okay.
Yeah, it was just the whole. It was just not a place for a kid. We managed it, right? Like we figured it out, but it was like looking back on it, it was just not a good situation at all. And then so I think I went to that detox, and then my parents were really like, I think I had finally admitted that like, okay, like they've been accusing me of having an issue with substances for so long, and I wouldn't admit it for a while because I just wanted to protect that addiction because I didn't want to stop. I felt like that's mine, like I don't
Precious.
have, literally. I'm like, that's mine. I need that, I need that to be normal because that's what I felt like. Needed that to be normal because when I didn't have that, there was something in me that was just not fucking right. Right? Like it was something that it felt like it fixed something inside of me.
And it's mine.
Yeah.
It's like mine.
No, literally.
I
fucking protected that shit with my life, literally.
At what point do you think you knew you were an addict? Like that thought was in your head?
I think once I started getting sick and continued to use and like started stealing, and I knew I didn't have any doubts that I wasn't an addict. I just truly thought I could manage it. Do you know what I mean? Like I wasn't like, oh, I'm literally fine. I just thought that there was a way that I could just do it and be fine.
I think when I started doing heroin, I remember I had a kid friend staying with me, and he would bring home heroin, and I'd be like, we can only do it twice a week. Because I don't want to fucking...
Only on Tuesdays, you know?
There was Wednesday and Sunday were our heroin nights.
Oh, yeah, I did that many times.
But he delivered weed in the city.
Yeah.
And he would, like, be tired, and he'd get coke and heroin, and I would go to sleep. I would go to sleep because I didn't want to do it.
Yeah.
And then I would stay up a little longer and do it. And then it started to catch me. And then when I realized... I also would get sick, and I don't want to get sick. So I was like... and my friend would pretend he wasn't addicted and just get sick every week, and I'd be like, no, I'm doing this. I made the decision I'm not gonna not do this. And I don't think I said I'm an addict.
Right.
I just said I'm never not gonna do this.
Yeah.
I'm gonna fucking figure this thing out.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, millionaires can't fucking figure it out, and like we're gonna fucking figure it out.
Yeah, no, I truly thought I had to go to an IOP, like court mandated at some point. I don't even remember what.
Hold
the
up,
fuck
though.
it was
You get
for.
home from Silver Hills.
Oh yeah.
And like, how fast are you relapsing?
Oh, I think within a few days.
Because you're sick.
I went through the sickness for a couple days, and then I went to a meeting, and before the meeting, I stopped up in the meeting. I like picked a meeting that was like in Putnam, you know what I mean? And I stopped, and I think I took a couple hits I went into I'm like, oh, I have to use the bathroom really quick. My uncle was with me, my mom's brother, who was also, you know, and he was on methadone for a really long time. So I brought him to the meeting, but I guess she thought he would like watch me. And I was just like, I will figure out a fucking way, no matter what it looks like, right? So I went in the bathroom and I smoked a little bit of the pill. It didn't do much to me. But yeah, I was just trying to do it however I could do it, and then I just went right back. But I had to hide it better now that my parents knew, you know. I just had to be really smart and strategic with how I did shit.
How bad was your uncle?
Oh, he's had overdoses.
So your mom knew of the whole thing. She knew you because she knew him.
Yeah. I remember she took me. So he lived on the Upper East Side in the city, and he had an overdose when I was like 7 or 8. He was locked up for selling. He had an overdose at like 7 or 8 when I was 7 or 8, and I remember her bringing me to the hospital, like, and seeing him with the tubes in his throat and everything like that, because there was a lot of times where they thought he has passed away now, but yeah, he was just on, you know, he got on methadone and he was chilling on that.
He just lived on methadone.
Yeah, he just lived on methadone.
Did he like, when he found out you're fucking hooked on oxys, was he like, talk to you? Like, did he try to like school you?
We talked a little bit. No, I mean, he was still pretty sick on his own, to be quite honest.
He was using on methadone.
Yeah.
There's very few people that you find that aren't
using. He was my
using.
favorite, but I mean, he was my favorite uncle. I fucking loved my Uncle Tommy. I bonded with him through that, and you know, that was just our relationship. He was my favorite person in my family because I felt like he could understand me.
He knew you.
Yeah. And so, yeah, but I started using I just went right back to it pretty much after that.
And where's the baby?
I had him. So basically the only time my parents would take him here or there, like, oh, can you watch the baby type stuff, but they never had him. Like, John and I both had him. I had him a lot more because he, you know, working, whatever, but I had him my entire addiction. And
you're with John.
Yeah, we were on and on. We would break up all the time. We had a really fucked up relationship. So
Junkie love.
Yeah, you know how it goes. We would break up, get back together. We broke up, and I had another boyfriend for a couple of years that was like, I went to treatment in 2013. So I went to treatment in 2013.
Where'd you go?
Crossroads, Antigua, Eric Clapton.
Wow, how is that?
My mom. Oh my God.
Is Eric Clapton there, like playing fucking Layla and shit?
No, I wish. He does stop by. He didn't stop by while I was there. So
he's not rude. Stopping
How
by.
How could you not?
Do you think he's stopping by?
I think he does. I think he has a house there. So I think when he's there, he like goes in and probably does a meeting or whatever. He didn't stop by while I was there.
I want to like.
My God, that place was fucking
Tell us everything
incredible.
about Crossroads.
Oh my God. So it's like a resort, basically like a resort. I think that their maximum capacity is 16 people. So you have this whole fucking resort, tropical, beautiful resort.
Is it like wall-to-wall rehab romance? like fucking under the tropical
a
moon
lot of
shit?
so there was only one person. I was young when I went there. It's a lot. They have a lot of older. You need money to go there. The only reason that I went there is because my mom wrote them a letter and said that I loved music so much, and I got a full scholarship. I would have never been able to.
You should hear her sing Layla. She's amazing.
Yeah. Yeah, so my mom got me in there for free. We couldn't afford that shit. And my parents were very clear from the beginning. They were like, you're not going to detox rehab a million times. Like, sorry, that's it. My insurance was shitty. They kicked me out at the, 7 or 8 days, and that was it. And I think that covered like I didn't have anything else after that. So the next time that I went to treatment was that time, and I got the scholarship. That place was absolutely amazing. Like,
how long
amazing.
were you there for?
I think I was there for 4 weeks,
the
and
I
begged them to
extend.
Yeah, exactly.
Extend.
I begged them. Because they had a 6-week option, but because I was scholarshiped, I think they were like, get this free bitch, get this poor bitch out of here,
poor old junkie girl out of here.
But they also do for people on the island. So they do scholarships for like 2 people a month on the island as well. Like,
that's incredible.
Yeah. So I met like native, I'm with the like native Antigua crackheads. I loved it. They're teaching me. I'm like wagwan, like I'm walking around learning the language and just living my best life.
Yeah.
There was only one other kid in there that was around my age. Everyone else was older. And we got put on contract like immediately. Right. I was always like, I seek out, whoever, and I'm like, okay, you this rehab romance.
You'll make me feel okay about myself.
Exactly. We will save each other,
yes.
But that was a really good experience for me. And I actually, when I came home, I was serious about my recovery. I got into an IOP. I'm so committed to doing my 90 and 90. Like, I went to meetings at 7 a.m. In this area, I was doing NA at the time. There's not a ton of meetings in this area. Like, you have to drive kind of far.
In
AA,
Peekskill?
there's a lot more.
Yeah, there's probably a billion.
NA,
there's
meetings. Not. I had to drive to Yorktown, to Brewster, to this.
And
place,
I bet you
place.
NA out here is rough.
Oh, I fucking loved
it. It's gotta be rough out here.
You got the old crackheads in the back, like, come on. They're
the
like
old timers have like 6 weeks.
Yeah. No, but I loved NA in New York. I never did shit. I never did anything. I had a bad experience with AA in that time where I was trying to do my 90 and 90. There wasn't a lot of NA meetings to choose from. So I was like, all right, let me go to this early bird AA meeting. I think it was also in Yorktown, or I don't know where it was. But I introduced myself and I was like, hi, I'm Rachel, I'm an addict. And at the end of the meeting, 2 old timers came up to me and they were like, this is not where you need to be. Like, go to the other fellowship, whatever. And I was just like, that was a really bad first experience with AA for me. And I was like, fuck AA.
I go to AA, right? I never went to AA. Like, because I didn't want to say I was an alcoholic. Because I never drank. Right. I was a drug addict. I never drank. But I got sober in AA.
Yeah, same.
And the spot that I go to is a beach meeting, but in the winter it goes into a church.
Yeah.
But the meeting in the church normally is a Heroin Anonymous meeting.
Oh, I love Heroin Anonymous.
Yeah, I never really went, but I like the sound of it.
Yeah.
It's got heroin in every step. I'm like, I like this. So like, I share in the meeting how grateful I am to be an alcoholic who's actually a heroin addict at an Alcoholics Anonymous meeting that's actually a Heroin Anonymous meeting. And some old timer was like, this is a nightmare that we're sitting, because everyone's Italian hardcore.
Oh, yeah.
He's like, that we're sitting in this clubhouse and we have Heroin Anonymous shades up, and it's like, dude, it's the same fucking thing.
It's all the same thing.
But alcoholics, like, that's like that.
Well, and I was like, I'm a junkie. I'm an addict. I'm not an alcoholic, right? It took me a long time to
be willing to say I'm an alcoholic.
It did.
It's like, what are you willing to do?
I was like, I'm not. And I was very delusional around my drink. As a matter of fact, we'll go back to that doing my 90 and 90. When I got to 90 days, I went out and I celebrated by drinking at the bar. Because I was like, I'm just
I don't have a problem with alcohol.
Yeah, it took me a minute. That night I was already doing coke. I added already that to the mix, and then I was like, normal. I met a normal boy who just did socially, drank and popped e-pills here or there.
You're like, finally, I found my life that I always wanted. This is my best life.
No, literally, and he kind of I would take him to meetings with me because I was still like convinced that like. I was like, these are my people that I need to be doing this. And then he was like, I don't think you really like these people. And, all he had to say was a little tiny bit of convincing.
You're totally right.
I was like, yeah, I know.
I'm much better than them.
Yeah.
They're fucked up.
So we started just, drinking, going out normal. I started doing more e-pills, and it was like manageable for a little bit. I got a job in that 90 days. I went to dental assisting school. I got a job. I did more in that 90 days that I was sober than I had done in like 10 years of my life, or like however long since I started using. So I accomplished a lot during that time. And then, so I had this job. I had this like normal boyfriend. He wasn't like a junkie like most of my other boyfriends were. And then after a little bit of a time, I started doing the pills again. And now this time I had a normal boyfriend, and I remember one night I was like, listen, I just got hit with a craving to do it, which eventually it was going to happen anyway. I think I felt like shit probably from doing whatever else. The night before, I probably felt like garbage, and I can't handle feeling like garbage. So I was like, I know exactly what will make me feel better.
What was the thing that kicked it off?
I think it was that. I think I was like hungover and dopamine depleted from probably doing Molly or whatever the fuck I was doing, and I couldn't take it. And so.
And then the idea, that opiate feeling
I can't wrap my brain around how people can do that stuff and not do something else after. Do you know what I mean?
I hear people talk about ayahuasca or mushrooms, and I'm like, well, I couldn't really do that without smoking weed, and if I smoke weed, I need to smoke weed every day,
right?
And if
I'm
smoking weed every day, I'll start smoking cigarettes, but if I'm smoking cigarettes, I'll probably want to do pills, feel comfortable, and then if I'm doing pills, I might as well do heroin.
It's just like you gotta do the whole thing. I'm an all or nothing type of bitch, so it was just not gonna work. A little bit of this, a little bit of that. It was just bound that I was gonna go back to what I wanted to do anyways. So I remember one night I had called him. He knew he knew I was a ex, I was trying to be normal, but I had told him in the beginning, I'm like, you convinced me, but like I
have a serious drug problem.
Literally. And so I had told him that night, like, I'm going to get some pills or whatever I said, and I brought them back we were living together, and I brought them back to the house, and then I think he was like, what's so good about, what's so good? And then he starts doing it.
Of course he does.
Then we're doing heroin together, and I already, actually at that point, I had already been doing heroin, but I was like, oh, I'll just go back to pills. I did heroin for the first time when I was 20. I had a boyfriend, and I couldn't get pills, and I was sick as shit. And I remember being like I'm like, heroin, that's serious, that's serious. And he had been doing it for a while. And he gave me a bag, and I did it on my way home on the train. And I was like, oh shit, does the same thing. And then from that point on, I'm like, much cheaper. Love that. I could, Did
you find that the heroin wasn't as good as the pills?
It depended. Then I had to learn who to get it. I had to learn where to get it.
Where were you getting it? Here?
So all different. I had a few different people. I had people in this area. But mostly down in the Bronx.
And where were you going in the Bronx to get it?
There was a place off of Fordham that I used to go.
What was the address over there?
Oh yeah.
No,
I could take you over there after this. Yeah. There was this dude Papito that we would see in a barber shop. Go to the back of the barber shop. There was
good dope.
Yeah.
What do you remember? Any of the stamps?
I don't remember any of the stamps. I remember there was one. It was like Red Wolf or something like that. That was really good.
Somehow the graphics on dope bags were so iconic. Like, I feel like they could sell T-shirts of it and people would be buying them.
Well, I have a funny story about. Okay, so this is fast forwarding. When I went to treatment, when I went to detox in Austin, I was so fucked up that I didn't realize I had brought a bag of heroin in my purse, just like willy-nilly free. Yeah, right? Okay. But listen to this. So they take all my stuff. I'm not aware of this. In the detox that I went to, they take all of your bags and stuff like that. They give you your clothes and what you need. They take all of your bags. And then when you're done on your last day of detox, you to get all your bags back and pack to go to residential because they were separate facilities. So they give me my purse back. They searched. Now, mind you, this is all searched. They had gone through it. They had gone through every little thing, looked for the drugs. They don't have China in Texas. They have tar. So they were not aware that this wax bag with the stamp on it was heroin. They put it in a Ziploc for me.
Wow.
Like it was like a little note or a piece of paper or something.
All I'm thinking is, how could they destroy your life like this?
Well,
you trusted them, and then
I was pissed. I was actually really pissed because they gave it back to me.
I did that shit immediately. You're like,
I'm like, oh, these fucking,
bastards.
So I literally did it immediately.
That's like the most exciting moment of your life. You get out of detox and then you fucking. You know what I mean?
It was my last night, so in detox. So I still had to do the sleep and then wake up the next morning to go. And I did it immediately. I was 2 or 3 days off of my sub taper. I had already tapered down. I was off everything.
You were free.
I was free.
Yeah.
And I immediately felt like fucking shit. It didn't get me high. It just made me absolutely like I was in a fucking existential crisis. I'm like, now I gotta leave, but I don't know anyone. You thank God I didn't know anyone in Austin yet, because I would have AMA'd and I would have gone.
So you didn't leave?
No, I didn't leave.
Did you tell them?
I told them in the morning. I'm like, listen, you motherfucker, you put this in my bag. I did it. Sue me. I did it.
And they didn't kick you out?
No, they were like, oh, well, you might have to stay in detox for a little while. But I was already I had been there a while. I think I was in there for like 9, 10 days, 11 days maybe. I had a time in detox. But they were like, okay, we're still going to send you over. And I was just sick.
That's very nice of them.
Yeah, but I was so at residential.
One
bag. It sent me back. I couldn't sleep. I was, restless legs. I was sweating, whatever. And then I met a boy in there who like gave me a Seroquel. He saw I was hurting and like, he was like, here, I got
here, baby.
Here,
baby. Here's a little Seroquel. 1,000 milligrams.
Yeah, let's get married. I love you.
I love you. You've saved my life.
Yeah. So
but hold on, you fast forwarded though.
Oh yeah,
I bet you we missed a lot of good stuff. Because you had gone back to first heroin.
Yes.
Then you fast forward to normie coke. Alcoholic that you get strung out on pills and then you're doing heroin with them.
Yeah. And so then we just had a drug fueled relationship.
Were you living mostly with him?
I was living in Wappingers at that time.
With who?
With him. Yeah,
with this dude.
Yeah.
And baby.
Yeah, and Johnny. Yeah, so he was living with us, and I was a dental assistant. I was going to work every day. As long as I had my shit, I was good. Like as long as I went to work dope sick.
Hold on one sec. All right, they seem to be getting along fine without me.
Great.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
Fantastic.
Yeah. So I was also I was just really good at hiding it, protecting my shit. I knew that I couldn't be.
Because you were about your business and then you were about your, I need this to be me and to have an okay life.
Exactly.
But so I don't need to be fucking, I have a kid, so I don't want to be fucking full on.
Right.
You want to
I wouldn't. Now, I don't have my times where, of course, I wanted to be full on all the time. Like, I wanted to do as much as I could do and be nodding out at every second of the day. But I just had my times. I had to go to work. I would definitely nod out in people's mouths at work for sure.
Wow.
I was like a young mom.
Let's deal with that phrase for a second. Nodding out into people's mouths.
Yeah, as I'm suctioning or like handing supply, to the dentist or whatever. I would just be like,
right.
Just a little like that. And he'd be like, Rachel, and I'd be like, oh, I'm just so tired. I'm just, I was really good at playing the victim. I'm a single I think John and I had broken up at that point or whatever. I'm just like, I'm a young mom. Johnny was up all night last night. I'm just so tired. I was really good at
manipulating the dentist.
Yeah.
What about nitrous? Any nitrous in the dental's office?
There was nitrous in there. I didn't really fuck with the nitrous. I was good with my opiates. That's really all in Newports, chain smoking and
I could see that.
Yeah.
Yes. Oxys and Newports.
Yeah. It was heroin at that point, but yeah, opiates and Newports was all I needed. That was good for me for a long time. And then
how bad does dude get?
Oh, he got bad. He got really bad. Yeah, he got worse. He actually got worse than I did. We broke up. I don't even remember why or how that. I have a lot of blank spots in my brain from a lot of probably all the e-pills. I would imagine just early onset dementia type shit.
There's a lot of shit in there.
I think that so much has happened over the years that I try to think back on certain situations. I'm like I don't remember for the life of me. But we had broken up at a certain point, and then I let him. We were copping in Poughkeepsie. We got this dude named D.
Po-town.
We would go see him. Yeah. So
do people say Po-town?
I don't know.
No.
I think they would call it PK or, I don't know.
PK.
Yeah, whatever. I don't really know. I'm not,
I had friends from up there, but that was a million years ago that they called it Po-town.
Yeah. I don't know what they call it, but we would, so I stayed around that area. I had a lot of times, and that's where I'm staying near that area at the hotel now. So that's why, and that's when shit started getting really, just really bad. And so we broke up, and then I remember I like saw him like a month later or so, and when I saw him, he looked like fucking dog shit, you know, and he was like overdosing in the Walmart parking lot. I'm trying to wake his ass up. It was just like, yeah, that was scary. And I always felt terrible. It's not like I didn't make him do that, but if I was in the right state of mind, like he only found that route of stuff through me. So I've always like carried guilt of like putting someone on to that, you know,
because he wouldn't necessarily have been in that situation
if we never met, or if I didn't do that, then maybe he just would have never done it. I mean, he's fine. He's doing great in life now, thank God. But I know it took, he's doing great in life now. I know it took him, I think it took him a little while, like it does for all of us. And
if we make it,
right? I mean, most of my friends are dead.
How many other, did you put anybody else onto it like that?
No.
That shit is hard to live with. Is that a poppy also?
Is it a what? Yeah.
All right.
Because heroin, you know, because opiates. That's my shit. Yeah,
I'm with you.
I think my best girlfriend, I introduced her to pills as well.
And she's alive?
She's alive.
All right, thank you.
She's alive. I didn't introduce anybody that's dead. So at least I think the people, I really just stuck to it was like the people closest to me, you know. I didn't really venture out, and the people that I was using with were usually already, I didn't hang out with normal people. Like I found the other people that were fucked up like me, and those were my people, you know.
Mm-hmm.
So
is it fun going down memory lane?
Oh, so much fun.
Okay, good.
It's so much fun.
Good.
Yeah, so then I guess
what does really bad look like in that period? When is that picture from? The slide on Instagram. So
that is from shortly after that.
Shortly
after that time period. When I moved back into this house from where I was living with my boyfriend, and
with the baby. How old is he?
He's 5, probably. Yeah.
It's amazing you kept it together.
5? Yeah.
It's like
I was soccer mom.
It's amazing.
I mean, true. But
pulling
the thing
it off
is, it really, it kept me out a lot longer. I think me being so functional and being able to
pull it off.
I wasn't really hiding, because if you really look at pictures of me, I was like 98 pounds soaking wet. My eyes were always pinned. My face was always like this, you know, like how you forget the frown on. I just, truly, like I was like taking like pictures for Facebook, all, you know, trying to be like whatever, you know, whatever. But I really did hold it all together on the outside. And then I was just living this completely double, you know, just a complete double life, because during my lunch break as a dental assistant, I was running to cop crack. Then I'm sure you've heard how I started smoking crack.
I mean, I've heard you talk about it, but I want to hear how it started and how did that love affair develop?
Yeah, so throughout my using, once things started getting really bad with the opiates, I really wanted to be sober. I was exposed to meetings when I was like, I don't know, that first time I went to treatment, I think from around 17, 18, and then after that, and I would always go to meetings even if I was high. I never really worked the steps. I never really did anything, but I knew that those were like my people.
And you felt like you wanted to be sober.
I wanted to be sober.
See,
I did.
I don't think I did. I think
that's normal,
I think I was just like, I didn't want to be sober.
Yeah.
But like to want to be sober, but then also to have a little job, little baby, kind of pulling it off, showing up in spots, and you have this secret.
Right.
And the secret is very intoxicating.
Right.
That you, because you're a master of your domain.
Yeah.
So, but then at the same time, the fact that you long to not be a fraud. Right, you long to actually be what you presented.
I wanted to. For me, it was like the fact that I couldn't function physically without this thing. I think that really.
It's terrifying.
Yeah, you know,
you're on a short leash.
I couldn't go on vacation. I couldn't do anything. I was like so secluded. My world was so small. You know,
you're a prisoner.
That was. I needed it all the time. I couldn't go anywhere if I didn't have it. You know, my life was very small. It was work. You know, get my shit, do what I got to do, and that's it. There wasn't anything really extra. I wasn't really living at all during that time. I was kind of just like on autopilot going, but the number one thing was having my shit. Like that was it. The number one thing was using and managing that. So I I was trying. I had also. I would. Like, I rewind to the point where I told you my parents said they weren't paying for detox or rehab or anything like that anymore. They couldn't afford it, whatever. So I decided to start like trying to detox myself. So I would go get all the comfort meds that I needed, and I would take, like, Johnny would go up to his dad's or his grandma's or whatever, and I would detox in my room.
What would you get? Like methadone or Suboxone?
Suboxone usually. I would get some Suboxone, and I would get like Xanax or gabapentin, like something to help me sleep through the at least 24 hours. Like, just take that off, because have you precipitated withdrawal?
I haven't. No. Yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
Oh, it's so fucking bad. It's so fucking bad.
I've just had withdrawal, not precipitated.
Oh man,
withdrawal.
it's like withdrawal on times 1,000. It's terrible. Have you been Narcan before?
Never been Narcan.
Oh man,
before.
Okay. Well, both of those fucking suck.
Now I feel
so bad.
now I feel like a fraud in this interview.
But they really suck. So I had to avoid that, in the first 24 hours. That was like the most crucial point, because I'm like, I have to get to the point where I can take the Suboxone.
Right.
I can't take it too soon.
Gauging it, like,
I
how
cannot
sick
take
do
it
I
too
have
soon.
to be?
Yeah.
That's
either,
the
because then I'm going to
worst.
get even worse. Then I'm going to wish I was not alive. And oh my God, I can't tell you how fucking brutal precipitated withdrawal is. When you take Suboxone too early, it is like the worst feeling I've ever felt in my entire life.
How many times does that happen?
Oh, I've done it to myself numerous times, because I would be so sick, and I'm like, I just need, I need something. And then I would do it, and then instant regret, because I would take regular, the worst amount of dope, being dope sick, than precipitated withdrawal.
How much time do you think you need before you can take a Suboxone?
For me, in the beginning, when I was just doing pills, I would just take the tiniest little crumb, right? Like I hated Suboxone. I would never take full strips. I would take the tiniest little piece off of a strip, or actually back in the day, it was like the pills. I would just take a crumb and put it, just so to ease it wouldn't make me feel 100% better, but it would ease what I was feeling. I used to take it sometimes like 12 hours after doing some pills. When I started doing heroin, and as I progressed into my addiction, the time got longer and longer.
Because it was in you.
I guess. I don't know.
Yeah,
I don't know what the science is behind it, but I had to wait longer and longer, and I learned that. Because I used to be good. Like a few hours later, I could take a tiny little crumb, and if I didn't have anything, and then go get shit the next day, and I would still use it. Wouldn't have a lot of blocker in it. It would be fine.
It's because Suboxone wasn't around when I was using. I'm realizing it was all methadone.
Yeah.
So like when if I kicked at home, I would be buying methadone from people, buying benzos from people.
Oh yeah, so you never had. That's good though.
Yeah,
I love that for you.
I'm glad I didn't have precipitated withdrawal. And when I did Suboxone, I did it never coming off. I did it like going on, and it would get me high. It would get me higher than the dope.
Yeah.
But anyway, back to the story.
Yeah, so I would detox myself at home, and I would go through that 24 hours, and then I would do a sub taper, just like they did in detox for me. I would do that at home, and then I would
Nurse Rachel.
Yes, literally. I was like, I'm actually a doctor. But one of these times that I decided to detox myself, I don't know if I couldn't find some of the comfort meds I usually got, or what the deal was, but I was like, I need something else to take for this 24 hours. I need something else to take my mind off of the fact that I can't do opiates. Yeah, I can't do my thing. So, and I'm like, I don't like uppers. I never really liked uppers. I had smoked crack once or twice before, and I didn't love it. I don't know. I just didn't.
I never did the thing for me.
I didn't love it by itself. And then so I did that, and immediately I was already like.
Who shows up with crack though?
I went. So one of my.
I appreciate you being able to stay on the thread so well.
Yeah,
You're
no,
doing really
my
good.
dealer was one of my really good friends. Of course, I made him as soon as I met him. I'm like, hey, bestie, let's hang out all the time. And he would smoke. He sold me my dope, but he also just smoked crack like recreationally. Like he wasn't like a crack. He could just do it and like put it down, and like would just do it here and there
to enhance his heroin experience.
And I used to drive with him into the Bronx to go pick up his shit, and he would be doing it in the car as we're driving there, whatever. And I'm like, one day I'm like, let me get that, and he would tell me, he's like, be careful.
This is crack.
This is crack. Be careful. And so I had done it with him a couple other times, and I think I got it from him that time. I don't remember, but I was like, I'm going to detox myself, so I need something else in this time just to like take my mind off, so I'm okay. And then I did that. And I immediately felt like within 2 minutes where the high goes away, you feel like you actually want to fucking jump off a bridge.
If you're not smoking.
Oh my God. So I was like, yeah, no, this is terrible. So I couldn't do it. So I went and I copped dope as well. And then when I found the both of them together, like for some reason, like I said, I had done this combination a few times before and wasn't really loving it. For some reason, whatever happened in my brain chemistry that time when I found crack and heroin together, I was it for me.
Were you smoking the heroin? Were you shooting the heroin? What were you doing?
I was just sniffing.
You were sniffing the heroin and then smoking crack right afterwards?
Smoking crack, yeah. Like interchangeably.
It's some kind of weird variation of a speedball.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And so
which everybody loves. I mean, it's amazing.
Everyone loves a speedball.
As long as it's a little more heroin than coke for me.
No, same.
That's how I like my ratios.
So after that, I went on a 6-7 month all day, every day crack binge with my dope. And then shit started. I wasn't really functional.
But that's a lot of money, though.
Yeah.
How are you pulling that off?
So I was working. I also would just middleman the fuck out of things. I also was very manipulative with men. Whatever. I would be like, I would rob people. I would be like, spot me. I made all of my dealers my absolute best friend. The dude that I was talking about before, I got so bad. We were like this. Like I brought Johnny over there with me all the time, like to his house. He was living in his dad's house at like 30 something years old. He was like probably 30, late 20s, maybe 30.
But no
he was
romance.
Older than me. No, not really. I mean, I made him. He was like in love with me, and I cared about him deeply.
Of course you did.
Yeah, I cared. No, and those relationships that you have in those trauma bonds and how shit goes. But then, so he had warned me.
They're crazy relationships.
Yeah.
When's the last time you saw that guy? Is he alive?
I think he is alive. I think he went somewhere and got help as well.
Good.
And I haven't seen him.
He never wrote you on Instagram?
I don't think so. No.
You probably don't see anybody that writes you. Too many people.
I miss a lot of my messages, which I fucking hate. But
that's for the best. It's for the best.
But I started getting just real crackhead behavior. Like he would go to work with his dad during the day, and on my lunch break, I went and I broke into his house. I broke his like basement kind of window over there, went through the basement up to his room to see if he had anything in his room. I was looking on the floor, carpet surfing for little pieces, because he just had shit, because he was selling so much that he just never thought about anything else.
Preserving the ends.
Right. So I'm like, he's got to have something somewhere. And I'm like, I saw him later on that night and to go re-up, and he was like, I know you broke into my house. And then I'm crying. He was like, he was pissed, obviously. I didn't tell him I wasn't, because I had asked him, I'm like, where are you? Like, I need to come there, whatever, and he knew. He's like, you're down fucking bad. Like, you're down bad. And I saw him that night because we were supposed to drive to re-up to go to the city, and he was like, he gave me like this whole talking to. This is like my dealer / also junkie crackhead, and he's like,
drug counselor, fucking life partner.
He's like, you are fucked up right now. Like this is a problem and whatever else. And I don't remember what the fuck we ended up driving. He forgave me, and like we drove and still did the same thing, but he was fucking pissed, and I don't really remember. I just was doing shit until I wasn't sleeping anymore. I started seeing people. I started hearing shit. I would sit in this driveway right here, chain smoke Newport, smoke crack, and do dope in the car all night. And I wouldn't go to sleep at all. And I would still go to work the next day. And
it's funny though. It's a very usual story for someone to tell the story of how their drug dealer was like, you need to chill.
Yeah.
Like, you're going too hard.
Yeah.
That's probably like the ultimate point of knowing you have a real situation.
Yeah. And I knew, and I also, it wasn't, it just wasn't as manageable for me anymore. I started showing up late to work because I was up for multiple days. I couldn't handle certain things. I couldn't even sit. I remember I was trying to sit with Johnny and watch a show. I couldn't sit for 5 minutes without going to smoke crack.
So the crack was the thing. Was the thing that broke the camel's back.
Opiates, I was good. Like it's a steady flow. Crack is like it's gone like this. You know what I mean? And you don't really get high after after a little while, you don't really get high at all. You just need to like
the
just
compulsion to smoke.
Yeah. And so I was just during work, I was running out to the bathroom, and like while patients are in there, I'm like, I have a bladder condition. I just got diagnosed, and I'm in the storage closet smoking crack. I'm in the where I'm making the
So you
molds.
say you have a bladder condition so you could be smoking in the bathroom constantly?
Yeah, I had to. Like I couldn't not. I would start falling
They're like,
asleep.
It's okay, Rachel's got a bladder condition.
Yeah,
Do you think
no, my boss was pissed, and I don't remember a lot of like how they looked at me. My brain during that time is really kind of foggy.
You think?
Yeah.
Were you taking pills too at that point? Benzos or no?
Yes. Yeah. Also because it would help me like when I had to go to sleep. So I was just adding everything. I was also taking gabapentin. I was also taking Klonopin. I would say at that point I was like doing everything, right? But I wasn't enjoying it. 25.
Yeah, you're still a fucking kid.
Yeah. So 25, and then shit just got really bad, and I wasn't good anymore, and the crack really took me out. Like shit was just really bad. I lost even more weight than I did just on heroin, and I was already like emaciated, like it was giving like consumption. Like I looked like I was just like, or what was the Oregon Trail? What would you die? What was it?
I don't know.
Howie,
what do you die on the Oregon? Scurvy?
Yeah. It was. I looked like I was just like decrepit, like a walking skeleton human, right? And
does Johnny know anything?
No. So he knew when I would.
Is he pantomiming smoking crack at that point?
No, thank God. Towards the end, we were living with my dad, and Johnny would wake up in the middle of the night. I would be in my car right there, and I would be either nodded out or doing my shit at like 3-4 in the morning, and my dad would come down and be like, what the fuck are you doing?
He'd be like, crikey.
I'm like, I'm smoking cigarettes. Like you don't let me smoke in the house. I'm smoking cigarettes. And I'm talking dead of winter. I'm in my car. Like,
how much did your dad know you think? Were your parents together?
No.
Where was your mom?
They got divorced. So my mom, they got divorced when I was like 20 or something like that.
Where was she at?
My mom's been all over the place. She moved in the area somewhere.
But you were always closer to your dad.
Not as a kid. As a kid I wasn't, but as time went on, yeah. Yeah. And so Johnny would wake up in the middle of the night. But he didn't know. So like he's 14 now. I was already a fucking degenerate at his age. And so I talked to him openly. He knows like my whole entire story, and I don't hold anything back if he wants to know. Like he also watched me. So in 2017, I had a Memorial Day. I think it was Memorial Day. I was trying to have a barbecue because I just never did anything like that, and I remember I like came up on a little bit of extra money, and I was like, I'm going to buy some burgers and like invite some people over and like do this and whatever. So I wanted to have a barbecue, but I was also still using, and I sniffed one bag upstairs in my room. I came down, grabbed a beer out of the cooler, and I face planted right there on that concrete. And I don't remember it. Like the last
at
thing
the
I
Memorial
remember,
Day barbecue,
in front of Johnny, in front of my dad, in front of all of my friends. And it was like I went through a lot of phases in my addiction where I tried to be normal, right? Like I went through a festival phase where I did psychedelics and like rave stuff and dubstep and wook life and shit like that, wearing pashminas and fucking being a weirdo.
What period was that?
That was like 2016, I feel like.
And that was post crack or during crack?
No, that was before crack.
Pre-crack.
All of crack was the last stop for me.
The final frontier.
Yeah, crack was the last stop.
Tell us about your wook phase really quickly, because our audience is a lot
shit got fucking weird.
Yeah, tell us about it.
Shit got weird. So I don't remember how I even got into. I think I went to a show with one of my friends, or I wanted to go to like Mysteryland. That's up at like Woodstock property, in New York, and you camp. And I had never been to a festival, and I like met these people, and I was like, this is the life for me. Everyone's fucking partying,
professional
but they're doing
drug addiction with a style.
Yeah, but I'm like, they're functioning in life.
It's not like total cracked out shit, but it's still wasted. They're not doing crack or heroin.
They're just doing e-pills, ketamine, everything else that you could do under the sun. But I'm like, they're literally fine. This is like,
they're living their best
normal.
life. Yeah.
So
what's a pashmina?
It's like those scarves, you know?
So you're scarfed out?
Yeah.
All right.
I would like wear scarves around. I would wear just weird. I'll try to send you some pictures so you could put them up on
we could do a whole
on the thing. Yeah. Because I would wear like little crystals like stuck to my head.
You were like that chick,
No,
the rapper
when I
chick?
went into something, I would fucking go full in.
Full
so like
chameleon
I
mode.
didn't know who I was for so long, right? So I would meet a group of people and I would just like let the lifestyle consume me, because I really thought that there was some kind of way that I could make it work. I tried like, you know, socially drinking and going to the bar scene. I tried the rave scene, and then I just like I used to wear like those pine cone necklaces and fucking those like cloth sweatshirts, you know what I'm talking about? The Mexican fucking,
the Baja shit.
The Baja shit. I just
yeah.
lived a really whoopee life.
That was your surf lifestyle.
Yeah.
Your hippie surf mode.
Yeah, I went through a lot of shit. So yeah, I went through that wook phase. And so at this overdose barbecue that I held, I had my normal friends there, right? And I would hold my actual secret away. They didn't know, right?
It's your precious drug addiction.
Or I said maybe I would tell them like I used to, but like I'm just normal now, you know, whatever it may be. And only my normal friends were there. They thought I had passed out from drinking too much. And I am like dead to the world, blue. Like I woke up in my bathroom with paramedics. They had Narcan me like 7 times or some shit. Like I was gone. I was dead for a lot of minutes. I don't know how. I probably do have some brain damage actually. No, like just a little bit. Let's be real.
Just a little bit.
Yeah,
You're functioning
that's probably
pretty
why my brain is the way that it is. But you know, it's fine. Ignorance is bliss or whatever. The only reason that I survived that day is the kid that brought me, my friend Chris, who's dead now. He brought me my shit because we were like sneaky together. We were going to be the only ones at the party that were like that shit, you know? He brought it to me and he like went to the gas station to get cigarettes or whatever. And when he came back, they were carrying me up my dead fish body up the stairs to try to put water on me in the bathroom. And he was like, you need to call 911. She's overdosing. She's actually going to die. Like, if he hadn't walked in that day, I would have been dead for sure. Like 1,000%. So, yeah. And then, I went to the hospital. Like the bag I guess had fentanyl in it. Fentanyl was just starting to come around. And I remember when the bags would have like people would be like, oh, like 10 people just died off this shit. And I'd be like, that's who I'm calling up, you know, like that's great. But that had never happened like that to me before. And I broke this tooth. Like I fell from a standing up position directly on my face on that concrete. Like that's how it wasn't like a nod and just slowly go to sleep type of process. It was like I fucking fell out. Yeah. They take me to the hospital. I woke up. They're like, what did you take? I'm like, nothing, you know, like as I'm literally on my deathbed.
It's like you go to detox. You say you take everything. So they'll give you drugs. Here you're dead. You're like, I don't know what happened. I'm on the
stretcher. They're bringing me downstairs. I have broken tooth, 2 broken teeth. My face was all fucking bleeding. And they're like, what did you take? And I'm like, nothing, you know. And I continued to nod. The shit that I did was so strong. I was continuing to nod out. They had to give me more Narcan at the hospital
because it was so
crazy strong, fentanyl-y. I guess. Yeah, but I was like, holy shit. And then I'm pretty sure, I think I like went on subs for a couple days. You would have thought that would have been like a super eye-opening experience. It wasn't really for me. Like I still continued to use. I think I tried for a couple days to like stay clean, and I took subs, and then I was like, nah, fuck this.
And was Chris like your junkie boyfriend of the time?
Yeah, he was one of my junkie boyfriends. He wasn't he was like, you know, we like definitely friend zoned him. He was like, but I loved him to death. He was like one of my best friends.
Right.
But yeah, he died when I went to treatment in Austin.
After you had gone.
After I had left.
What made you go?
So back to the crack days and how my life was just.
It's getting hot out here, right?
It's a little
I think
hot.
It just went to 90.
Yeah, it might have. I'm probably dripping sweat. That's fine. What were we talking about again?
Dude, you're fucking living it.
Yeah.
dying, resuscitated,
Yeah.
fucking falling out, chipping teeth, and you're like, I'm fine, I'm going. But then you wound up actually going to Texas to get well. What was the thing that made you do it? Unless, don't answer that, unless there's a lot of good runway between here and there.
No, I mean, so really what I thought I was good on opiates. That's just what it was for
You
a
could
long
manage.
time. Even after my overdose, my best friend, one of my best friends that was at the barbecue actually called CPS on me and told them what happened. So I had a CPS case.
That's not fun.
I mean, yeah, and I was so fucking mad at her for that in that moment. But when I look back on it and what I was doing, and that someone should have taken his ass from me.
But
like, for real.
Those are the moments that save people's lives.
Oh, yeah.
Even if it's not that moment.
Yeah.
Just to put the thought in your head that, oh my God, even if it's like, I'm fit, I can handle opiates and a baby, but she doesn't think I can.
Right.
Maybe I'm really
let me be spiteful, like out of spite, try to do this, whatever. It wasn't then yet. Like I remember being, and I faked a pee test, and I just got fake pee. I knew that I was going to get tested, and I faked a test, and I was fine. And I came out, and they like dropped the case if you or not. So I didn't have anything really come of that because I was just out here fucking being crazy, putting stuff in my body. So I remember and they have to watch you like this, right? And
So what was the method?
So the method is I took like a small like shampoo bottle that you get, like travel size shampoo bottle, and I got the fake pee, and then I put the pee in the thing, and I put was it saran wrap or tin foil? You put tin foil and rubber band it around the top, and then when you go into the bathroom, you act like you're gonna like wipe and prick it with your nail, and it comes out.
Wow. So you put it up, and then you go to pee, and it's ready to be dispensed if you break the seal.
But it's not that fucking easy, because let me tell you, when I was in that bathroom, I was fucking, she's literally in my vaginal area, like looking like this, and I'm like, and it like wouldn't come out the right way, and then also you have to make it seem,
like normal. You can't be like,
like, so, but I did it.
And it is to temperature.
Bricks.
That could be like a prototype for a new product.
Yeah.
You know about the Whizzinator. Mm-hmm. This could be some sort of
girls have a little harder time, I feel like. Or maybe not,
in some ways. It seems like an easier time because you have the place.
Yeah, because they can't really.
Natural storage facility, but maybe something more comfortable, suited to, I don't know.
Yeah.
Please, continue.
So that case basically went away. I was like, I'm not going to ever talk to that friend who called CPS again, and nothing really came.
Did you ever talk to them again?
Yeah, I did.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. We're still close to this day. I actually went to high school with her. We've been friends for forever. And once I got sober, I realized, I was like, okay, bitch, like you were right for doing that. I was really pissed in the moment because it was fucking with my,
Your shit.
Yeah, it was fucking with my shit. So anything that was dangerous to what I needed to be doing, or what I felt like I needed to be doing, was like an enemy. That was like not okay. So I was so delusional in my addiction, and I truly didn't think that there was a lot going wrong with Johnny. And I talked to him about all of this stuff now, and I ask him what he remembers, and he doesn't remember a lot. He does remember me like being in the, he remembers the day I went to the hospital because I fell, which was my overdose. He remembers me being in the car at night, but other than that, he doesn't remember a lot, because I'm always like, dude, you gotta have some fucking trauma, like let's talk about this so we can clean it up, figure it out. But he really doesn't remember it. So I think I did a good job at hiding it as much as I could.
How about Johnny 3? How is he doing at that point?
He got sober he got arrested and went to Graymore, Graymore,
My
St. Christopher's.
Yeah.
It's a great fucking place.
The guy who was on the show last week actually went there and found God there.
Oh yeah, a lot of people do. A lot of people do. So he went and got sober there, and then went and did the, they have like their halfway house that's in White Plains. So he went and did that, and he stayed sober, but he didn't really. He did the meetings and stuff while he was in the halfway house because he had to, but he never worked a program. He just stayed sober. He just stayed sober for like 4 or 5 years.
Right.
So I was still running and gunning in my own shit, but he got sober. So
was he wanting
good.
to take Johnny? No. He was like, you can handle it.
Yeah, I mean, he just knew how functional I was before the crack started.
Right.
He knew that I was just like, that's what we had been doing for so many years. So he knew that like it wasn't a major danger, or he didn't think it was a major danger. Major danger. Hello?
No, it's like stranger danger.
Stranger danger. Major danger.
Yeah.
So yeah, he got sober for a while, and then then 2018, was it 2018? I think it was 2018. I was at the end of my crack run, right? And I was just miserable.
Knew the crack was beyond you.
I knew it. Like I went to the hospital, so I would sit on my phone and I would always thought I was having a heart attack. Like I just always thought I was about to die. And so I would go to the
Were you social mediating it up at that point?
No, I would get real fucking weird. I would sit in my car by myself and I would scroll on my phone, but I wouldn't even like anyone's post because I thought they could like see me.
Know.
Yeah, they would know what you were doing. Yeah, they're like, she is being a crackhead again. Yeah. You know, so
she liked it. She's high.
There's people that like, you know, towards the ends of my addiction, it was just me in my car by myself or me alone smoking crack in my room or in my bathroom. Like that was it. There was no really hanging out anymore. There was no like groups of people. It was just me by myself. And towards the end of that, I was at work one day and an old counselor from an IOP had reached out to me and he was like, how you doing, kid? He would like always check in on me.
That's
and I was
nice.
like, I'm actually going to fucking blow my brains out. Like, I'm not doing well. And then he asked me if I wanted to go to treatment and he had, connections to treatment and I agreed to go. He like called, I'm like, you
That's
have to
amazing.
call my parents.
No one's ever checked on me ever. Why was
Really?
he checking? No one's ever checked on me.
I think it was a God thing because he reached out to me right in the right moment. I was miserable in that moment because I think if I would have been like high, you know, like if it would have been a few hours later and I would have just copped or something and he reached out at that time, I don't know if I would have made the same decision.
That's really interesting though, that this guy took an interest. Like, I wonder what happened to that girl.
Yeah.
Like, and it saved your life.
Yeah.
And that should be a lesson to anybody out there who might be able to reach out to somebody who's fucked up.
Right.
Like, because maybe you'll save their life.
Yeah.
Like, even if you don't, who cares? But if you do, it's like hitting the jackpot.
Yeah. And I mean, I think it's just nice.
Does he
to
know
check
what a
up on.
famous Instagram, TikTok person
I
you are?
haven't talked to him in a while, but yeah, he's definitely seen everything that I have been doing and stuff, which is
What's his name?
Cool. Mitch.
All right,
Mitch.
Big shout out to Mitch. Who saved
truly.
Saved you.
Yeah, no, literally he saved my life with just reaching out in that moment. So then I went to Austin. I did the
Why Austin? Because that was where he had the hookup.
So I was supposed to go. Yeah, so I went to Recovery Unplugged. I was supposed to go. That was like he had connections with that rehab center or whatever. He like
Where
could
is
get me a
that?
scholarship. So they have a few different locations. I was supposed to originally go to the one in Florida. They have one in Florida. That was like their first one. There was no beds there. So then they were like, "Do you want to go to Austin, Texas?" And I'm thinking, I had never been to Texas before. I'm like, tumbleweeds. Do I need a cowboy hat? Like, what the fuck? I didn't know like Austin was really like a city. I was just picturing some like wild west type shit, you know. And I was like, yeah, okay, whatever, I guess. So
if you'll put me up there, I'll go.
I'll go. Yeah. So I went and
You never went to Cornerstone at Rhinebeck?
No, thank God.
I was
the like
there.
Therapeutic community. That's like the TC.
I was only there I left there 20 days in, but I'm just curious because it's around here.
Oh, I know a lot of people that.
Yeah, it's
I know
fucked
a
up
lot
place.
of people.
Yeah, it's fucked up place.
Yeah.
Serious business.
Yeah.
I seized there, got dragged out of that place. But
Oh,
please,
shit.
you get to Austin. Austin's beautiful.
Yeah.
You
so
go there with powdered dope, though.
I go there with
What
dope.
else? Crack?
I was smoking crack. So my mom had a minivan at that time, and I think our flight was, or we left at like 4 a.m. to get her. She wanted to go with me because she didn't think I was going to make it there.
Good for her.
You know what I mean? So we're in her minivan. And I'm like, I have to smoke crack, you know, like I have to smoke crack. So I like hop in the back and act like I'm looking for something in my luggage because she had like the seats down or whatever. And I'm smoking crack in her van. She had to have known. At that time, she was smoking cigarettes. So I think she had the door open and I was like, I'm getting away with this. Like this, she has no idea. I think at that point, it was just too far fucking gone. You know, she was like, this bitch is going to rehab, whatever. She was just like over it.
That's the final thing though. It's like I'll go,
I
but
have
I'm
to
gonna do
do-
every
yeah.
drug on my way there,
Right.
and you're gonna
And
deal
we
with it.
went to the bar. We almost actually missed the flight because I was like, I am fucking going
Drinking.
to be. Yeah, I'm drinking. I don't even like drinking, but I'm gonna drink if this is my last time drinking. So got to Austin, went through the detox, did the inpatient, got a rehab boyfriend. Got to like 60 days sober and I relapsed out of nowhere because I just
In Texas.
went on a week relapse
In halfway?
yeah. So I I was just we had these mandatory big book meetings we had to go to like every Tuesday or some shit. And just during the meeting, I got hit with like the biggest fucking craving. And I was like, I'm going to get high. I didn't tell anyone. I just like felt it like, and I had the best day, but I got this rehab boyfriend. I wasn't fully focused on I had started working a 12-step program and I was doing all of it, but I had made this dude like my higher power, right? Like he came before, and that was so me. That was such a me thing to do. You know, I was always
romance finance.
Yeah. And
that's the thing though. I only started hearing that recently. Oh, you made your partner a higher power.
Yeah.
Like you and like.
Well, put him before my shit. You know, that was my, when I woke up in the morning, that was the first thing that was on my mind.
Is it okay? If it's not okay, I'm not okay.
Right, exactly. So I think that's where I fell short during that time is I didn't put, I'm a big believer and you have to put your recovery first before anything else, before your fucking kids, before everything, or else you don't have any of that type of stuff, right? So yeah. I got the boyfriend and then I got hit with this craving at this meeting and I immediately went out. I didn't ask for help. I didn't tell anyone.
In Texas, though.
In Texas.
Stranger in a strange land.
At that point, I had known some people already that had relapsed, you know, and
that's the fucked up thing about like sober community.
Yeah. So we had a relapse party with a few different people. We all went. I got kicked out of my sober living, and because they knew like immediately that I was using. I think like the day after. I think I stayed out a little bit late or whatever, and I came back to the house and tried to play it off, but they knew immediately. I got kicked out. I went to the hotel. We had like this relapse party. I think that I think it was like 7 of us. I think 2 of us are left alive. Everyone else on that.
Yeah. What was the relapse party like?
So we all just went to this hotel and...
It was planned.
Kind of like basically. So I wanted to relapse and then I did. And then I got kicked out of sober living and I knew that 2 other people...
Crack or heroin? So
I was trying to find crack. I couldn't find it. I did the tar. I had never done tar before. I didn't really like tar. I'm going to be so fucking... I didn't really like it. So nothing was hitting like what I needed to hit, you know? So I did the tar and I wasn't loving it and I was trying to find crack. I couldn't find... everyone did meth there. Meth is huge in Austin. And so I was like, all right, I guess I'll do fucking meth, whatever. I hated it, but I did it for 7 days straight. So all of us in this hotel room, you know, one of my friends is like fucking running tricks, like it was just, shit got so wild during that week. And by the end of that week, I was like...
In the hotel room, she's like doing sex
I'm in the
work,
bathroom.
I'm in the bathroom fucking dudes and getting money and whatever.
Yeah. I mean, there was a lot. Wall. Yeah. There was a lot going on during that time. We found this like meth dealer. The first night that we got to the hotel, we found this meth dealer and he wanted to like trap out of our hotel room as well. So he was staying there. We were all just like a big weird fucked up family during this time.
Total
it was
junkie.
The shit that happened that week was just so insane. It was just so insane. Meth is weird. Meth will really like...
All the psychotic shit.
By the end, I was just completely out of my mind.
Give us a little more of this, because this sounds like a really epic relapse.
Yeah.
In treatment, fucking leave treatment, go to a hotel with a carnival of addicts. Mm-hmm. Girl starts tricking out in the hotel. You're hiding in the bathroom.
Yeah.
How many people?
But it was so normal during that time. Like it was so, you know.
She's like, I need to get some money.
Yeah. I mean, that's a normal thing. You know, it happens. The sugar daddies. We also had like a little sugar daddy situation. I went with her for that, and he was just like, he would take us out to dinner, and like she was like living with him by the end of that relapse.
Like,
it's hard to gauge how.
Kids.
Yeah, no. She's doing so good in her life now and everything. And
it didn't work out for the 2 of them.
No. He hit, and then she left to go like back home to wherever she was from, and then he would hit me up all the time. When I got sober, like I actually went back to treatment and got sober. So at the end of that relapse, we started out with all those people from the rehab, right? And it was like, you know, fucking fun times, like just doing shit,
firemen
whatever,
and
relapse
dwarves
party.
and shit, the whole thing.
And then by the last day of that relapse, I was by myself in a Motel 6. Nobody would talk to me.
Why?
She had gone off
Why
with her
were you
sugar
by
daddy.
yourself?
She had gone off with her sugar daddy, I think, at that time. And I was like, I don't know if I was sick of them or what. I don't really remember.
It got to be too much for you.
I think so.
Yeah.
I think I don't, or they probably just wanted some alone time maybe, because I was just like third wheel, like just happy to be here, you know what I mean? Like I was just like her friend that he was bringing out to meals so that she could have
I'm
company.
sure he wanted to throw you into the mix, and you were like, no thank you, and then you were like you guys gotta go. Is that not what happened?
I don't really remember.
That's how I've pieced this together.
I'm sure that there was who fucking knows, right? That week was insane. But yeah, so by the end, yeah, it was just me by myself, and I was like, I hadn't slept in 7 days. I was out of my mind. I was pulling my body hairs out with tweezers. That's what I remember doing. Like every single body hair that I saw, I was just pulling it out with tweezers. I spent hours.
OCD shit.
Doing that, yeah, and like picking my skin and doing all of that, and then
on
meth.
Yeah.
And then I just begged for my treatment center that I had just left to take me back. I begged them to take me back. And I was so delusional in that relapse that I truly believe, Johnny, can you shut that? I truly believed that they, like my treatment center loved me so much that they would just take me back for free. Like in my relapse, I was like, they just loved me so much.
They took you free the first time.
Yeah.
And then they didn't take you. So what happened?
No, my dad had to pay. Like they agreed on a certain amount of money or whatever. I went back to detox, and I had only been out for a week. So it was like a pretty quick detox. And then instead of going to residential, I went to PHP.
Partial hospitalization.
Yeah,
program.
where you go to a program during the day and you like live in a sober, like a really strict sober house where you can't go anywhere or do anything yet. You only like live in the house. So I did that. And then that time around, I had to like break up with the rehab boyfriend. I had to not talk to any dudes when I was in there. And
Johnny's here and you're in Texas.
Yeah. Yeah. So
was that painful?
Yeah, that was the hardest part. So I chose, actually, when I was in rehab, I chose to stay out there because they I was only planning on going out there for like the 4 weeks, 28 days. I'm come back home or whatever. But then they just like put things into perspective for me and was like, just take a little bit more time because you've done this a couple times now and you can really get on your feet and like do all of this before you add a kid and before you add all of this to a newly sober.
That's so dangerous.
I just had never considered staying for like a long time somewhere because I'm like, I have a kid, I have a job, that was always my excuse. I'm like, I can't go to rehab.
The ultimate way out of rehab.
Right, yeah. I'm like, I can't do that. So I listened to them, I took suggestion, and I stayed there for sober living, and I did all of that, and I started working the steps, and I got a sponsor, and I started taking other people through the work eventually.
Do you think being separated from Johnny was the first time that you were like, this is really what it is? Like when you're not with your son, like it's like every other time you're with your son, you can get away with shit, you can keep a job, you can keep it together. Here you're like totally exposed.
Right.
And like being separated from him shows like I'm fucked.
Yeah.
Like do you think that was a huge pivot in the whole addiction?
Yeah, 100%. But I really made my motivation was like to get my shit together so that I could move him down to Austin. That was like my goal. And I'm like, if I can stay and I had never ever stayed sober longer than 90 days that one time. That was it. I didn't have any other points where I got to, even 6 months I never had a decent amount of time ever. Like in the whole over 10 years of me using and trying to get sober. And I tried to get sober so many times. I would just go in, pick up a white chip. Like 2 weeks was usually when I would detox myself, and I would get fully through my sub taper, and then I would feel better physically and feel better mentally. And then that obsession would fucking get me every single time because I didn't understand that it wasn't just a physical thing. Because a long time I thought the opiates was just like, I just
get past the physical and I'll be all right.
Yeah. But, so I did sober living in Austin for like 7 months. And then I learned a lot. I went through Oxford,
Oxford group, sure, yeah.
I love Oxford. It's run democratically. Is that the way? Yeah. So like there's no house manager. Like the house makes all the rules and takes votes and all of that.
It's empowering. And it's full of like total, like it's on you.
Yeah.
Your
we
accountability.
have to hold each other accountable.
Yeah.
So I learned a lot more and I got into Oxford can either be really good or really bad. It depends who's in the house, right? It depends. You'll have people in there. Some people will be off their shit and not living the right way. But I got into a really good house. I met some really good women, and they taught me accountability. I learned how to hold other people accountable and to take accountability myself without getting defensive and like being like, okay, yeah, I fucked up. We used to have to pay fines, like for if we left the door unlocked, like $10 fine. If you leave a light on, you know, all of these fines. I learned responsibility really quick and how to like do shit. And so I learned a ton from that.
You grew up. It's like total like team. We're growing up. We're not fucking around. That's how AA started, right? From the Oxford groups and that whole thing. Is that connected? Oxford House, Oxford Group?
I would imagine so somewhere. I'm not really sure the history behind it, but it sounds like it.
AA came out of the Oxford Group.
Yes.
I don't know if the Oxford Group is a part of the Oxford House.
I mean, you have to work a 12-step program when you're in there. You have to. So I'm
sure
somewhere down the line. It sounds good.
Dopey Nation, if you know the answer to this, please write in an email to dopeypodcast@gmail.com.
Yeah, thank you.
That'd be fantastic. So you start getting your shit together. How soon after you're like, send me the boy?
So I got an apartment with one of my best friends that I had from rehab, one of the ones that stayed sober. She stayed sober from that first round. Like I went out for that week relapse. She stayed sober from my first time that I didn't really make it. And we got an apartment together. I got a job. I was working at the Austin airport in like a bar lounge type of place, and I was doing like barista and serving, and shit was really, I was like an adult, you know. I was like doing shit. I would have my shit together. I was doing the recovery thing. And then I think that summer, was it that summer? So that was Johnny moved down in 2019, I think like a year later.
The kid or father or both?
The kid. So, oh, actually, no, hold on, wait, let me. Okay, so I came home to visit here in August of 2018. My rehab boyfriend that I had just passed away from an overdose. So
you were with him when he died?
I was 2 nights before he passed away. He had texted me and said, like, basically used that he thought he was going to die. He's like, listen, I knew he relapsed and whatever. And I was in my sober living. I snuck out of my sober living because he was like, I think I'm going to. So I stayed in bed with him the entire night, making sure he was breathing, awake. Just like, and yeah, so it was a whole fucking whatever. And then he died shortly after that. I was trying to separate myself from him because I was doing the sober thing.
You were trying not to be with somebody who's using.
Yeah, but I really loved him. Like I truly did. You know, those bonds that you make in rehab, and then like the months after and I relapsed before he did, and then so we kind of just different timing. We did the same shit. But yeah, so he had passed away. I was kind of a mess from that, and I came home to New York. And John and I were not together. We hadn't been for a while, but we always had this thing where like, you know, what, I don't know. So I ended up getting.
What do you mean you had this thing?
We had this thing where we would break up and like get back together and break up and get back and every time we were like, this is such a bad idea. Like, you know, like.
Well, it's hard because you have a son together.
Kids, right. So, so we would do that, and at this time he was trying to get back with me and whatever, and was like, we could make this work, whatever. So I came to New York and we got pregnant with Silas.
Wow.
That not on purpose. We got pregnant with Silas that little short trip. So when I got back and told him that, he moved down like almost immediately to Texas. He hadn't told me. Now, he was sober, right, for years with no program, no anything. He hadn't told me at that point he had started socially drinking and like whatever. And I just truly thought that he was never an addict how I was an addict.
Because he didn't need 12-step.
Yeah, and he stayed sober for that long.
Right.
You know, so I was like, maybe he just had a physical problem, and he was, because
he's just a heavy drinker.
Yeah. So, so he starts working in the restaurant industry. He came down a couple months before Johnny because Johnny had to finish out school. So he came down, I think, in like, I don't know, April or whatever, and Johnny was done with school in June. So he came down to try to get a job and try to get his shit together. I got him a job in the restaurant industry because that's really all he has experience with, and he started taking like Adderall, doing this and doing that, and we knew pretty much immediately, or I knew pretty much immediately after he moved in Austin that I done fucked up. I was like, we were fighting. It was just terrible. Like immediately it was terrible. And so, he ended up relapsing really badly. Like, long story short, a lot of shit happened within this time. I kicked him out. He relapsed, started doing meth, started selling pills. He was doing everything that you could imagine on the most fucked up of scale that you just like the most
out of nowhere.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean,
to come down and be with pregnant you.
Right. Oh no. And I was by myself.
The worst case scenario.
Yeah. No. I was by myself the whole pregnancy. By June, we had to get a protective order against him because he was just off his fucking, just absolutely insane. And so then we had no contact. I had these 2 kids by myself now, and I did solo momming by myself for like 3 years while he was running and fucking doing whatever.
Getting your shit together.
Yeah.
Super sober, bootstrapping with 2 kids.
Yeah. So that was tough. That was hard.
But that's also like sober boot camp because there's no fucking thing you can do besides the next right thing.
Yeah.
And if you're not in it, like then what?
Yeah. I had to really lean on, my network and fucking God during that time for sure because shit was really crazy. And then he got arrested a bunch of times while he was out, and I would hear from his, this was before his parents died, and I would talk to them to just get updates and see what's going on. And I'm like, hey, listen, I had so much resentment towards him, but at the same time, I was always like, that's the father of my children. Like, I will always try to help. And I had a ton of connections in the recovery community, whatever. I'm like, sober living, I got you. Like, rehab, like, if you say you will go, like, I'll help however I can.
And you're building up your own program where you see evidence based on exactly these things. It's like, all right, do this, and this, and your shit will get better.
Yeah.
And I'll help you.
He didn't fucking listen to
Nobody
me.
listens. Nobody listens for a long time.
Fine. So multiple times happened where I would like give him an inch and be like, hey, here's what we're doing. Like, this is the only way that you can be around the boys and I, because we're not going to be involved with you. And you're like, we're just not, you're fucking off your shit. Like, we can't, because he was dangerous in that time. Like, he wasn't just a normal, it wasn't like your everyday. He was doing some really crazy shit. So,
what was the worst one?
Well, I mean, he did some shit to Johnny, which he had never put his hands on him like that. He like blacked out. I let him watch the kids for a couple hours, and Silas was very young because this was when we got the protective order, and he had passed out like on the couch while watching the kids, and I had run out to get like groceries, and when I came home I was like, what the fuck? Silas is screaming in the other room. Johnny's got his gaming headphones on so he couldn't hear it, and I'm like, I had never left him with the kids at all, and it was for a tiny amount of time, and this is you pass out on the couch. And I came in and I was like, I'm a brand new mom. I'm like, what the fuck are you doing? Like, what the fuck are you doing? And then he immediately like just blacked out. I had Silas in my arms. He charged at me. He did some shit to Johnny, pulled him in my apartment. We had to go to the next. It was just a fucking
He was out
wreck.
of his mind. Yeah.
Yeah. He still to this day doesn't remember it
His
how
blackout.
we remember it.
Right,
yeah.
right.
But it was really scary. And that's not how he is normally, but it was just like, I was like, after that, like, we just cannot be involved with him because I know some bad shit's going to really happen. And
if he's using, you can't be around. And the kids can't be around.
Yeah.
And that's it.
Yeah, no, we just couldn't. And then he would pull the like, I never did this to you when you were used. And I'm like, I wasn't doing the shit that you were doing. Like, and first of all,
maybe he should have.
You should have. No, literally, I told him that. I'm like, you should have. If you saw me, the shit that I was doing, especially towards the end, somebody should have fucking taken him from me. I was in such delusion I didn't realize. Someone should have fucking intercepted his ass, right? Whatever. It didn't have, shit went on. But then finally he got arrested the last time he got arrested, and his best friend died a couple days into him being in jail, and then his dad died 2 weeks later while he was in jail. And then he really, like, I think that was a huge fucking wake-up call that he didn't want to end up where he was going. And we like reacclimated for his dad's funeral and saw him for the first time in years, and he's been good since that round of
that was like bottom for him.
Yeah, I think so. I think he was just done at that point. Hopefully, like, because of
does he do meetings and stuff now, or is he okay?
Yeah.
So he's like I can't do that again.
Yeah, not to the extent that I would like him to do it, right? But like I can't work his own program, but he's doing stuff.
When did you guys get back together?
So
this guy called me. I'm scared. Oh, we're good.
So I don't.
Do you see how disgusted Howie is with me? It's like this. Hold on, though. I'm scared like something got terribly wrong. No, we're good. Okay, we're good. Sorry. My bad. Yeah, now we're perfect.
Okay, so when he got out of jail, I told him that he could come stay with us because he had nowhere else to go, and he had to be in Austin for probation. And I'm like, all right, we'll see. This is not me inviting you like forever, whatever, but I want to give you a safe space where you're not going to be around all these crazy people that you've been around, and you can see the kids, and we'll see how it goes. And he's just been staying with us since then. And somewhere along the lines, we were just like, okay, like, I guess we got kids together. We might as well, like.
How is it going?
Good. We haven't been in one fight, and we used to fist fight each other.
How long has this been going?
I want to say it's been like a year and a half.
So how long does it take from you being like, we want to like give you some consistency to it being like, we're together? How long does it take?
I think a few months, probably. Yeah.
Because the love was, you had been fucking.
I love the shit out of him.
For your whole life.
Yeah. We literally, we fell in love at 15.
Right.
And so we've been in each other's, how many years is that now? Fucking 2000.
That's 18 years.
2000. Yeah, that's fucking crazy. That's a long time.
And it's a beautiful story.
Yeah,
right?
I mean.
It's like your story of being like TikTok, Instagram, like superstar is one thing. I don't think you lean that hard on this romantic family story.
No,
you don't.
No,
Why not?
I don't know because
Too
I'm always
schmaltzy.
like
you like to support the butt and stuff like that.
Yeah,
instead.
but I also like to. I always ask him before. I'm like, what do you want me to share? You know, I don't share a lot about other people so much because I don't know what.
And you want to be more funny than like super sentimental.
Yeah, and I've made videos about it. I actually have been meaning to do an update on. People ask me all the time. People are so nosy. I love it. They're always like, who? You know, I'll post like he'll be in one of the pictures on Instagram or something like that, and people are like, who is that? Where? You know? Is
no,
that
they thought dude. They thought LA dude was dude.
Oh my God, Hunter. Well, any dude that I put on my page
is dude.
Any dude,
right.
They're like, oh my God. They're this same with RJ from any man that I post with or I have a picture with on any type of social media, people immediately are like, that's who she's dating.
I applaud you though for not schmaltzing it up, first of all. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Like I applaud you for that. But on the other hand, like you're missing out on a big windfall.
Oh yeah.
It's like a big fucking ka-ching kind of moment.
Yeah.
But at the same time, you're being like, fuck that shit. I need to be safe. And like, if I like, because it's almost like jinxing, like wanting, it's like you don't want to set yourself up.
Maybe we'll get there one day. I feel like it's too. I went through so much motherfucking trauma with the whole situation for so long that I'm like, I'm just gonna like ease. We'll maybe down the line, we'll see.
But I mean, from what I follow you pretty closely, and 99% of your shit is funny.
Yeah.
It's not anything else.
I like to keep it
It's a little glammy.
Yeah.
A little like buy these clothes and I'm hot kind of shit. But and I can sing and like they're kids, but you're not going to see them.
Yeah.
But it's mostly funny.
Yeah, that's my favorite thing.
So what I'm hearing, like, and we're going to be done in a second, but listen, you live in Austin.
Yeah.
You're funny.
Yeah.
You have a fucked up story. You have a ridiculously big following. Go to that fucking place. Start doing some open mics. Just fail. Succeed. Who cares? What's the fucking difference?
I know.
It doesn't make a difference. Best case scenario, Joe Rogan hears about your story and puts you on the show, and then you can maybe do more comedy, maybe not. Maybe you write a movie. Yeah. Maybe you fucking make a TV show. Maybe you just do
I want to write a book. I'm going to write a book. I'm going to write a book.
Me too, but I haven't written it.
Me neither, but I'm going to.
You got sober in 2018, right?
Yeah.
So you got 6.5 years, 7 years?
Almost 6.5, yeah.
Listen, you did great. Yeah. Thank you so much for coming on.
Will
you do it?
Me.
Will you do it or won't you do it?
I will do it.
You will?
I will.
What are you going to do
I'm
first?
I'm going to do it all.
You're going to write. Oh, that's not the answer. Are you going to try to write the book first?
I think the book is definitely the nearest thing.
No. This is what you have to do. You find out when open mic night is.
Yeah.
You go do 5 fucking minutes.
Yeah.
2.5 minutes. How long are the longest videos?
Can I do some longer for him?
Can I help you for a second?
Yeah.
You've done how many videos?
Oh God, I don't know.
Thousands.
Yeah, thousands.
You know which the material that really smashes is.
You know what I think my thing is I don't do well with planned content.
I'm trying to just listen to me for a second.
Okay,
I'm trying to help you. You know which videos are like, holy shit, that shit is funny, and you can kind of hear the laughter through the comments or whatever. You take the best 3, you put them together, you go down to do open mic, you do them. That's it.
But what if people have seen them already? That's what my worry is. Like I'm gonna run out of. No. Okay.
These comedians, they do the same thing every fucking night, over and over and over and over. Go there, do the best 3, see what happens, see which of the best 3 really hit. Keep that, and you go back the next time and you add the other 2.
Okay.
You have so much material.
I do.
You've
Yeah.
go on.
Yeah.
Howie just said you should go and kill Tony.
Yeah.
Start in that spot. Force yourself. Say like you're going to 90 and 90. You're gonna go to fucking 4 and 4, like 4 open mics in 4 weeks.
Yeah.
Like commit to it, and then if you hate it, you don't have to ever go back.
But at least I tried.
But you tried.
Yeah.
And you're good.
Yeah.
And you're in a moment here. Fucking do it.
Okay.
Okay.
I'm gonna do it.
You're gonna try?
Yeah, I'm gonna try.
All right. Fantastic. Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you for coming. Thank you for having us.
Thank you. Thank
Awesome.
you.
There you go.
It depends. Some of the trends I know.
All right. Me and my daughter's into TikTok.
Yeah.
She's made 1,000 videos, but never posted one. They're all drafts because she's very sweet.
Oh,
isn't that so sweet?
Yeah.
They're all drafts.
Oh.
So she did a thing with me. We're like in the mall trying to find a dress, whatever. And top 10. I don't think this is gonna work. I don't think this is a good idea, but we'll try.
Okay.
Top 10.
No, it's not top 10. It's you're going to rattle off X number of...
Okay, I'm going to say a drug,
Mm-hmm.
and we're going to get to the number. You know how like you say like the top 10 worst things about summer, and I say mosquitoes, and you say 3.
Yeah.
So we're going to try that with drugs.
Okay.
I don't like this idea that much.
The worst? Hold on, wait. So the worst or the best?
Huh?
It's ranking. So
Yeah.
he goes crack, and you go...
Number 1. Yeah.
Then he goes heroin, you go, I chose number 1.
Yeah.
It's a blind ranking. You don't know what the things are going to
Here, we're going to circle back to that. Get that out of your head.
Okay.
This is what I want you to do. We talked for 2 hours and 8 minutes.
Yes.
Which is a nice,
Wow,
it's a nice
it's
chunk
been
of
that
time.
long?
It's a nice chunk of I know you felt
Wow.
very comfortable. And
Yeah.
nice with me. That's very good. Is there any fucked up drug story, real bad, that you used to tell when it was like the worst story, but also like the funniest story and the stupidest story? Can you think of any like that you used to tell?
Funniest and the stupidest?
Like kind of like Junkie Seinfeld kind of situation. Is there anything like that you can think of?
I feel like when I did crack to try to get off of heroin was probably...
Okay, so bring the camera. How close is the camera? I want a vertical shot of her designed for a reel.
Okay.
I want you to start on me, and I want you to tell it as if it's a reel.
Okay.
Okay? Because you're a professional reel. I mean, do
Yeah.
you have to get up and do the stuff you do?
Maybe.
Rachel does. You do that kind of thing. You do a lot of cool stuff.
I do.
I know. That's what she does. Yes. Okay. So you mentioned that you used crack to try to come. You mentioned that you tried to do crack to come off of heroin. Is
Yeah.
this true?
Yes.
Ted, can you tell the audience how this works?
So, yeah, I just felt like it was a fantastic idea. I was trying to detox myself off of heroin, and I was such a Delulu queen that I was like, you know what would be fucking fire is if I smoke crack so I can get through this day before I have to take Suboxone and detox myself. Like, I just needed something to get my mind off of the thing that I wanted to do. I need to do something else that I didn't really like because I didn't really like uppers. And I was like, crack sounds like it actually fire. I felt like a doctor. I was like, that's an amazing idea. And that's what the delusion of what that I was in I was like, I've cracked the code. Get it? You get it?
Very good. But it's like getting wolves to kill the rats in your yard because then you wind up with wolves.
Yeah,
in your
then
yard.
I just ended up addicted to both.
There you go.
So that was fun. But
I like that
ultimately,
you landed on crack the code though. I
cracked the code.
You know what
But
you're
I
doing.
didn't. Ultimately, I did crack the code though, because crack really brought me to the point where I got sober. You know, where I was willing to get sober. It fucked me up so bad. So if I didn't do that and I just stuck with the opiates, I don't know. I probably would have stayed out a bit longer.
You'd
You
probably
know,
still be out right now.
crack the code.
So we recommend to all heroin addicts to try
Just do
crack.
crack.
It could solve the problem.
Yeah.
Don't do that. Don't listen.
No, don't do
Don't
that.
listen to Rachel. Would you say trying crack is a good idea for anyone addicted to heroin right now?
No,
Okay, very good.
I really wanted to say yes, but don't.
Don't. No.
Don't. Unless you want to hit your rock bottom way faster, then
And not that many people die from smoking crack.
no, I don't think so.
It's a
Some people
prolonged
have a heart-
agony and
yeah,
misery.
yeah.
Sometimes a
Yeah,
heart
I
attack.
think they have a heart attack, but it's a lot more safe than I don't want to say. It's don't do crack.
Okay, that's a good ending. What's another good reel? Help us. Help me.
TikTok's going to allow that to fly?
I know Instagram will.
Yeah, Instagram will.
Yeah.
As long as you're not like
This
as long
is-
as you
think
add
of-
some recovery in there, it's
What if you were going to say this do you think it's easier just to watch and pull reels from what we have?
I don't know. I mean, we could do that. We don't have to use them if you don't like them, you know? I feel like if you have any ideas.
My ideas are like, what is something that you would share with me that you would feel comfortable about doing? Like, what's a reel that you would collab with me on Instagram? Think in those terms.
Yeah, I feel comfortable
doing anything.
Yeah.
All right. So
Yeah, I've shared everything on my
So what's a good one? You know what I like? My favorite story is that fucking horrible relapse in Texas in the hotel story.
Yeah. It's a good one.
So Rachel is in Texas, and
oh wait, I have another one actually.
please.
I have another one that you haven't heard yet.
Even
too.
better. Yeah, that's best.
So one moment, and this is where I really realized like how another like just my eye-opening thing for me where I really realized how strong my addiction was. So I had my best friend and we went to a rave, and we're both crackheads at this point, right? She's shooting speedballs in her neck. She had coke and heroin. I had crack and heroin. I like to smoke crack. She just liked to shoot shit in her neck.
And you never shot.
No.
That's
no, I didn't.
Too.
Yeah, well, I also stayed away from it. I knew that the way that I used, if I did that, I would be dead so quickly. And Johnny, my son, was the only reason I didn't go that route, like, ever. And I was very close so many times. I just knew as soon as I did that, the way that I used, I would be dead. I knew it was like, that was it. And he was the only reason that I wanted to stay alive. But so this one time, my friend and I, she's, her choice is speedballs to the neck. I love that. That's a classy girl. And we were staying at this dude's house who was a normal dude, and this is his parents' house. We're staying upstairs, right? And her and I are like throughout the night going into the bathroom. I'm smoking crack, she's doing shit, and then he was sleeping. He fell asleep at some point, right? We didn't have a lot of lighting. It was like very dim lighting, and we're still just up being crackheads, the both of us. And she wanted to do another shot, and she put way too much coke into, way too much coke in her shot.
Her ratio is all wrong.
Ratio was wrong, way off. All of a sudden she does it, and as she's doing it, she grabs me like she knew. I watched her eyes. She knew immediately that she fucking did that. Something was wrong. Like, so she looks at me, her eyes, pupils were like this big. She was scared for her fucking life, starts shaking like this, grabs me like this. She's like, oh no, like I did too much, and starts seizing dead, like to the ground
Coco
in
D.
front of me. I'm screaming. This dude, normal fucking dude that doesn't know what we're doing, wakes up. We're at his parents' house. I'm like, call 911, call and I couldn't find my cell phone. I was so fucked up myself. We hadn't slept all night. I find their like house phone and I call, and then I'm like, what? She's dead. I thought she was dead. Like under her eyes was black. Her eyes were open like this. She was not breathing. She was not moving. Nothing. And I just witnessed this. He just witnessed this. I wake him up in a freaking panic in his parents' house, and so then I'm on the phone finally, and then he's like, she just started breathing, like she's just breathing or whatever, and I'm like, okay, actually never mind, because never mind, and they were like, we have to come now.
right.
She's on probation. I'm like, fuck, she's gonna be so pissed. It was this whole situation, so they had to come. They were there in like 2 minutes. The cops found our shit, and I remember being like, he was like threatening to like bring me to jail if I didn't tell him where I got my shit. I'm like, motherfucker, I know about the Good Samaritan law. You're not allowed to be doing this right now. I was like, I know my fucking shit. I'm like, this is exactly why addicts don't call people when people overdose, because you guys come and fucking do some shit. I was pissed, right? But so they take her to the hospital, and I'm like, okay, like I'll meet you at the hospital. But they took my shit. They didn't charge me with anything, but they took it. I went, instead of going with my best friend to the hospital, who was literally like on her fucking deathbed, I go and see my dope man. I was like, I'll be right there. Like I had to, in a snowstorm, mind you. This is in a snowstorm. And I went and saw, instead of going,
right?
no, literally, I was in like rave clothing, probably.
Right.
I don't remember what
it was your
I
woke period.
Yeah, it was. And so she was like in the hospital waiting for me for like hours, because I had to drive in a snowstorm to see my plug before I could go there. And then I had to pretend like I didn't do anything with her, because she just almost died. And I'm like, you probably shouldn't do anymore, but like I have to, but you're not going to know about it. I'm just going to hide it. So like that was a real moment for me where I was like, damn.
That's a great story.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
see how they just come?
Yeah. There's so many more that probably are just racked down in my brain somewhere.
No, you think of one thing and then you're like, wait, there's that one. I know.
Yeah.
So what about a quickie recovery thing? Like, what would you advise? How would you advise somebody who's totally fucked? Like, what would you tell them to do? So it's an interesting question, because there is no answer.
Yeah. I mean, because
It's like good luck, right?
Yeah,
Good luck.
People have to be willing. I would say, even if you don't feel like you're willing to get help.
You know what? Fuck that question.
Okay.
What made you willing ultimately?
Me, I just really had to burn it all down. I had to be I was going to kill myself. Like, I was very close to just like ending.
Was suicide in your head?
Oh yeah, 100%. Like at the end there, I was just like, yeah, I'm not going to be here for very much longer. I just can't. I don't want to be here. You know, I felt like everyone was better off without me. I was just not well at all. And, I just needed to be beat down enough that I would be like, okay, fine. Like, I'll go and actually try something different. Like, I'll go away and get some help, and I'll actually be willing to like do take some suggestions and stuff. Yeah.
And then you had to do it all.
Then I had to do it all, which is like the hard part.
And then you had to not stop doing it.
And then
all.
I had to not stop doing it.
That's the craziest part.
Yeah.
You know, you're 6.5 years in.
Yeah.
How often are you going?
To meetings and stuff? Oh, still frequently. Yeah. And I still sponsor women. I still wake up every morning and do my prayer and meditation. And, you know, there's things that I have fallen off in my 6.5 years of sobriety. I've fallen off with little, you know, like nightlies here and there, or like I'll just not be as in touch with my, you know, my network as I'm supposed to be, or whatever it may be. And I feel that shit. If I don't do it for a little while, I feel it. And then I feel, you know, restless, irritable, discontent. And then I'm hard-headed. Like when I'm in enough agony or like just
uncomfortable.
Yeah, uncomfortable. Then I will do what I need to do.
But you said it so perfectly. And how many times do we hear, if you don't put your recovery first, or if you put your recovery first, everything else is going to fall into place. You hear that when you're totally fucked.
Yeah.
Then you hear it when you're working a program. I hated hearing it. I fucking hated hearing it. And only recently I heard it again, and I was annoyed at like download numbers, or like the house is a wreck, or whatever, like little fucking shit. And it's like, if I can put my recovery first, all that shit can make sense. Everything else goes, it's like Tetris.
It is.
You put that shit in place, everything else goes in. And when that shit is not in place, it isn't.
It's a mess.
It's
right.
all that. And it's
Right.
like this weird dial. If you dial your recovery first, it's like, I love the way you said that.
Yeah, absolutely. It's been shown to me so many times in my life.
It's annoying though,
because
isn't
I
it?
won't. There will be little times where I said like I'll fall off of something, or I'll get in financial fear, or I'm like worried about this, or I'm worried about that, and I'm not fully like surrendering to my recovery, you know, every day, and things will not go. They will go the opposite of how I would like them to turn out. So it's a lot easier when I can just trust the process, put my recovery first, just do the next right thing, stay out of my own self-will, and just like be like, okay, whatever's supposed to happen happens, and it fucking does.
How tripped up do you get to Defiant You when you say that? Like I've been talking like a lot about spirituality lately. I've been talking a lot about putting my recovery first lately, and it still makes me uncomfortable. Like it still feels like that doesn't seem like who I am. Yeah. And I know it's who I need to be. And I know when I am that, I'm way better off.
Well, like trusting the process. You have a hard time just trusting the process.
And
you
like,
got to have your hands in it.
Almost like I have a hard time preaching it, believing it when I preach it, saying that this is real and that's who I am. Yeah. Like I really... I don't know if it's imposter syndrome, or I just don't like how it sounds.
I think that it can sound so corny and cliche, and that's my thing too. I hate when I'm like, listen, this is about to be so fucking corny, but it's true. And even in meetings when I share some shit, like all the catchphrases and the little sayings and the slogans, which are all so fucking cringy and corny, but they're true. And that's what sucks about it, because a lot of them are dead on point. So I think maybe just the delivery of it feeling weird. It can feel weird too when I like try to, but I've also lived it so many times now. Like I've seen through so many different areas since I've been in sobriety that like if I do this and I put my recovery first and I just keep doing the next right thing, shit turns out beyond how I could have ever imagined it.
Shit is good.
Yeah.
Shit is good.
Shit's
Life
real
is
good.
Life
what
is
the
good.
Fuck? How?
You make your whole fucking living doing little dances.
What? Literally talking about my ass and being a crackhead.
Yeah, talking about
my pants.
Talking about
That's
your
my
ass
job.
and being a crackhead. Listen.
That's fucking crazy.
It's fantastic.
I'm always like, are you sure? Is this a dream? Like what? It doesn't make sense to me, but I never tried to get into this. It just happened when I lost my job at a rehab. And
What were you doing at the rehab?
So I was a behavioral health technician, and I made an inappropriate. I'm a comedian. I made an inappropriate joke on like our Slack thing. Or
Slack
whatever.
is the worst.
Yeah, on our
Oh, my
Slack,
God.
I made an inappropriate joke, and then I kind of.
Do you use Slack in your personal life?
No, fuck no.
Okay.
No. The joke was, okay, so it was just a little. There was a man in the front of the admin building who was trying to do some landscaping or yard work or whatever. And he didn't speak English.
Yes.
And so admin team was like, is there anyone that can come talk to this man? He doesn't speak English and we need someone to like translate or whatever. And I had just eaten a quesadilla for lunch and I said, I'm feeling real Spanish. I just ate a quesadilla for lunch. Maybe I can come translate, which might be a little bit racist. Looking back at it, and I guess so.
I'm surprised you didn't write "Donde está la biblioteca."
In the moment, I did not see, but I offended someone that worked there that was on the major higher ups, and she wrote back to me on the Slack.
This
and was
is
like,
very inappropriate.
Yeah, and I wrote like LOL okay. I was also pregnant, and I was still learning so much. I was newly sober. I was like just a year in. I wasn't ready to fully I always think everything's funny, and sometimes it's not. I had to make amends to her a couple weeks later, and I knew it wasn't the time or place, but I got fired from that job, and
Did you get fired for that?
I got fired for that. They fired me directly after that.
What did they say?
They were like, we got to let you go because of what you just said on
Slack.
whatever. And I got into it with, like I said, one of the higher ups. The way that I responded to her was
What did you say?
I was like, LOL, okay, or sorry that you were offended or something.
That
like
doesn't seem that bad.
I mean, I think it was a little over dramatic how they did it. Yeah. But it ended up being the best thing that could have ever happened to me because I would have never started making content. Also, COVID happened. I was pregnant when I got fired. I had Silas. I got an unemployment. I somehow got an unemployment. I had him. I was now making unemployment and I was able to stay home with him. If I would have not left that job, I wouldn't have gotten paid at all. No paid maternity leave, nothing. And then COVID happened, so it got like extended. So I was able to be home with my baby and I started making content, and that's where things came from. And now here. So I had to go through some scary shit after that, but like I just fucking went with how things were going.
So maybe being racist, Mexican hating person your whole life has become fantastic.
I'm so sorry. Yeah.
No. Or maybe being a quesadilla loving technician.
Quesadillas, yeah.
You love Mexicans and take
yeah,
quesadillas.
I do.
Well, who doesn't?
All right.
Exactly. I think that's fantastic. I really do. What else? I think there's a lot of stuff in there. I think there's a lot of good stuff in there. I think we're fucking good.
Okay.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Howie?
Sorry, my hands are sweaty.
I want to get a quick reaction shot of just you.
Where you go?
Okay.
Yeah, want to just try not to look stupid.
That's gonna be.
Wait, am I doing it too, or is it just you?
I'm just gonna shoot him.
Okay.
What am I reacting to?
Well, look at her. I mean, you could just talk to him and tell him another story, and I'm just gonna get his reaction. Not like a
I'm trying to think.
idiot. Just normal.
You have to go like.
First of all, the microphone should be in your hand. I mean, you could.
Here, I'll do this.
Yeah, you could laugh a little bit. Tell him one of your jokes from your stand-up.
Oh man, no, I gotta.
Give me a joke.
Oh man.
There's something there.
I heard you on the Hell Has an Exit podcast.
Yeah.
He flew me in too.
Yeah.
God bless him.
Brian.
God bless him.
Yeah.
He's a sweetheart.
Yeah.
He's a sweetheart, but he's done. Hell Has an
Yeah,
Exit's
he's done.
finished.
Yeah.
It's over.
Yeah.
But did you stay at the Hard Rock Hotel and Casino?
Mhm.
Very nice.
Yeah.
Did you swim?
No, I didn't swim. I was only there for 24 hours. I
Me
was there
too.
super
And I
quick.
forced myself to swim.
Oh, you
I-
did?
I-
I gambled. Which
I didn't
shouldn't have
gamble.
done.
I swam instead of gambled.
I have a gambling
Did you
problem.
win or lose?
I lost and then I won.
Do you have a gambling problem?
I do have a little bit of a gambling. I mean, it's not. I've only gambled like a handful of times, but I have noticed like I never understood it because I played slots a couple times when I was younger, and I was like, this fucking sucks. I'm never doing this. This sucks. And then I went to visit my friend in Nebraska, and we went to the casino, and he taught me how to play craps, and I won like $400 in 2 minutes.
You're
and
like,
that
this is
they
like
had to
crack.
rip
This is like
me-
smoking crack.
They had to rip me away from that casino. Like I left up. I've never lost any money yet, but I think that's the fucking problem. And then I went and I stayed at the Hard Rock. I stayed up till 3 a.m.
On that trip.
on that trip.
Was it family
the
or
night
just you?
Before, and it was just me. The night before the podcast, and it was really hard to rip myself away from. I was like, I'll stay up all night and go right to the podcast.
See,
like,
that whole podcast should have just been about that.
Yeah. I didn't tell them because I was like, oh no. I was like, this is actually embarrassing. They saw me lose like $200 when they were there because we all went out to dinner there, and then they left, and I went to my room, and then I went back out.
See, they didn't take me to dinner.
They didn't?
They didn't take me to dinner.
Was it Maria? Was Maria?
Maria set it all up.
Okay.
But she didn't take me to. She didn't even come to the interview.
Really?
But you want to hear the flip side?
Yeah.
Is I went there. I flew in on Friday. Got my room. I recorded an interview with this crazy guy that I knew in Florida. It's like crazy guy. Like he's like, it doesn't matter. Crazy guy. We did an interview. He left. I changed. Took a dip. Came back. Changed again. Watched a little TV, and then I Ubered to Brian's home.
Yeah.
Recorded Hell Has an Exit. Came home, and then he's like, I want to do Dopey. So in the morning, I went back, but I went back too late, and we didn't even finish. And I never aired his episode. Not good. I don't feel good about that. And Brian was just in New York this weekend.
Oh. Okay.
And I wanted to go see him, but I didn't.
Yeah.
I need to
So
work
you'll
that
have
out.
to just figure it
I don't know
out
if I need to
whenever.
make amends, but I need to.
Amends,
I
but
need
maybe
to work
just
that
do
out.
it.
Yeah.
Just figure.
You feel good?
Yeah.
I have another. Have you ever been on a recovery podcast half as good as Dopey?
No.
Just out of curiosity.
No.
Are you
I
being
love
honest?
this. Yeah.
All right, good.
No, I love
You had a
this.
good time?
This was fire. Yeah. I
All right,
loved
good.
it.
Very
Yeah.
good. Thank you for coming.
Yeah.
You're
Thanks for
fantastic.
having me.
All right, awesome.